Yeah, I mean, I was just like, I just turned the music. It's still loud. That's wild. It's still that. I mean, it's fine. I'm just let me. Okay, now you probably can barely hear the music now, right? I'm just trying to get mic check done because I made some changes to my mic last podcast because there was some like clipping issues going on with the whole noise gate and the whole sound suppression. Now the music is gone. What the heck is going on with OBS? I mean, it's like it shouldn't be gone. It should be like barely there. Sound good? Okay. As long as the mic sounds good. That's all I want to do real quick. We'll get started in a minute or two. Well, 3 minutes to be exact. Just waiting on. Oh, Forte is here. Forte is here. Just waiting on the homie Agent Deli come through, and we're gonna get started. So hope you guys have had a good Thursday. Mine's been pretty good. I can't complain. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mute up, and then see you guys in a few minutes. Yo. We are back once again on another Fine Thursday evening. You know, a little technical difficulties here and there, but you know, no problems. We got no problems over here. Appreciate you guys coming back for another episode of DPS Podcast. That's Damage Per Second Podcast, episode 124. And we gonna have a great show. Ain't that right, Forte?
Always do.
See, that's what I like to hear.
Oh my God.
Oh man, it feels good to hear your voice. It just does, you know. I hadn't heard it up until now, but it feels good to hear it. And shout out to our. This is a special guest, but it's like at this point, it's almost like it's almost like he lives here, like he's a roommate, like he's got his own key. He just walks in the house, he opens the refrigerator, he grabs your beer, sits down, puts his feet up on your coffee table. What's up, Deli? How's it going,
Yo,
man?
what's up? Thank you so much for having me here. It's also nice to be able to see that you guys are over episode 100 now, and you guys are making your way cleanly to 150 here shortly. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thanks for giving me the key to the apartment, and letting me come hang out, watch your TV, use your cable.
Yeah, anytime.
Just make sure you
man.
restock the refrigerator.
Always, man. Always,
Yeah,
you know.
and kind of turn the fan on in the bathroom when you're done. Like some people just I don't understand. Like you blow up the bathroom, you don't turn the fan on. Like what's wrong with you? Like
Hey,
it's
mi
weird.
casa su casa. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Oh man.
But hey, let me shout out some people that's here. I did a little quick check and shout out some people before we got started, but sent a couple other people have rolled through since then. Well, shout out to Enrique, who says Forte is on Destiny. I know he was.
No, it wasn't actually.
Cult Classic Cage in the house. What's up, Cassie? How's it going? We got Muck 45. All right. And as well as everyone else that's already been here before. We appreciate you guys. The footage you see playing right now is due to the fact that Capcom had like a live showcase for the games they're dropping this year, and they dropped the Resident Evil 4 demo, not just on PlayStation like they did last time. Wait, no, they did it on PlayStation, I think PC, for I think Resident Evil 3's demo, but this one's on like every platform, like literally everything. It's on the Ouya. It's great. But anyway, I played it on PC. That RE engine so well optimized, man. I mean, like it runs fabulous. And I turned on. Did it have ray tracing? I can't remember if it. Yeah, I think it does have some kind of ray tracing going on. I turned everything. I just turned everything up. It was just like just turn it all up, and runs really well on my rig. So I've had a chance to just mess around with it. Y'all know I'm not really a Resident Evil guy, so it was very short-lived. I just really wanted to see how it looked and how it ran on my PC, and then I turned it off and uninstalled it. Am I the only one, Deli, Forte, you guys checked it out yet?
Yeah, I'm actually about to turn my PlayStation on right now and download it.
Nice.
I've been outside of the house all day today, so I unfortunately have not been able to have a chance. But since you brought it up, I'm doing it now, and I will give you my impressions, on Twitter or something like that afterwards.
You should definitely do it live. You should definitely go live and play it or something. That'd be
I will gladly do that.
Oh Lord.
Forte, what about you, man? Have you had a chance to check it out?
Nope. I just found out about it 10 minutes ago when my daughter yelled down the stairs saying the Resident Evil demo's up on Xbox. I was like, oh, that must have something to do with that Capcom Direct that they did today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I didn't get a chance to download it. I don't know. I'm gonna download it sooner or later. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I said, it ran well. I didn't even remember. So like, I've only played Resident Evil 4 one time, and I didn't finish it. No shocker to anyone, because I'm not a Resident Evil fan. But like, I didn't remember this part. I thought, I don't know, maybe does the original game start with you just walking to that village? I couldn't remember. Like, I was just like, I don't remember any of this stuff up until it was like when I leave this part, and then I'm like going towards the village is where I'm like, oh yeah, now this looks familiar. But I don't know. It looks awesome though. It looks awesome, and this is probably going to end up. It's probably going to end up being one of those like Game of the Year contenders this year. Deli, what do you think about Resident Evil 4 and its reception when it finally comes out? I think it comes out next month, right?
Yeah, I think it drops next month. But I mean, Resident Evil 4 is one of those games that is just an all-time classic, both a cult classic, both I think a bestseller as well too, and both just a franchise best, both a high point, both narratively, gameplay wise, and of course characterization. Yeah, everything about it is just absolutely fantastic. Obviously, people rave about it 24/7. So I definitely think it'll be comparable, if not better, than the Resident Evil 2 remake, which was also very, very beloved. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to revisit it because memory doesn't serve me very well, because I was like, yeah, this game looks perfect, and then I'm watching footage on it, and I'm like, this game is looking a little rough. So same thing with that. I think I think Dead Space has aged a little bit better than this one, or the original Resident Evil 4. So I'm just excited to revisit all these remakes, because it's that golden sweet spots of the nostalgia era, about 12 to 15 years. So I think it's definitely gotten to the point where it is time to dive back in and find out new secrets. And I hope they change just enough for me to make it feel fresh, just like Dead Space.
Yeah. Well, a correction. It comes out the 24th of this month, so just in 2 weeks. But I did notice some people talking about some things were different. For example, so like when you get to the village, and then you're basically like just trying to survive against like these crazy villagers that are trying to kill you, and then there's like a bell that tolls. So like a lot of people, I think back in the day, a lot of people used to go up in the tower to like fight them off, but if you try to go up there, like the floor breaks and you fall back down. So I thought that was pretty interesting for a change. That's going on there. So I don't know. I think Resident Evil 2 remake was a massive success for Capcom, but also kind of like the template that a lot of developers now are kind of using when you decide to do a remake of a classic game. Like if you're gonna remake it, do it well, make sure visually it looks amazing, and really don't change too much of a masterpiece. Like, why? There's a reason why people love it. Just give them what they love, but make it look amazing and do a little bit more than just what a remaster would do. Forte, what are your thoughts about the RE4 coming out in a couple weeks?
I haven't been an RE person. Well, RE4, because like one of the last few ones I played, I fell off the wagon after RE5 because it just went off the rails, stopped being Resident Evil for me after 5. Actually before 5 was the last one I actually wanted to play. I'm gonna play 4, but all of my love for Resident Evil is kind of tied to my daughter at this point now, because she's enjoying it more than I do. The closer this game gets to coming out, which is in the next couple of weeks, is the closer I'm gonna go to buying a PSVR for her, because she's gonna want to play it that way.
Yeah,
but
they announced that they normally don't do the VR version at launch. It's normally like a few months after, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you probably got maybe like late summer. Or
Yeah. So I already know as soon as this happens, I'm gonna pretty much be out of luck for $550. But I'm looking forward to it. Definitely back to the classic Resident Evil and stuff like that. Looking to see what kind of changes and stuff they made to this, because I really like what they did with 2 and 3. So definitely looking forward to it, but more for my little one, because she is 100% into horror and fighting games at this point.
Now, I guess we can just get into the games we've been playing before we get into these topics. Deli, what has been tickling your fancy when it comes to gaming recently?
I've just been playing Halo. I've been playing Tekken, as always, prepping for the 8th installment. Obviously, I'm always playing Call of Duty. I'm just absolutely, addicted to DMZ mode. I just hit level cap for yesterday at 450. So it's only been like 10 days.
That's
into
the level cap. I'm at like 170, I think.
I'm far behind. I've been playing too much of that game, yo. But yeah, playing Halo. And then what else? So I'm still finishing Callisto Protocol. Kind of just taking my time with that one. And then I started the New Game Plus of Dead Space remake. So yeah.
Nice. Forte, what you been playing, bro?
Sir, you already know what I've been playing. It ain't changed.
No, I don't. Maybe
Raids,
the audience doesn't know what you've been playing.
I was going to still answer the question. I'm just telling you, you already know the answer to that. I've been playing Destiny. Well, literally for the last 4 days or 3 days, I haven't played anything because I haven't been feeling too well. You know, when you got a bug, you just want to go home and lay down and go to sleep. That's literally
that's what happens when you play Destiny. You get sick.
No, it was actually an illness. So I just did nothing but come home and go to sleep the last 3 days. Today's the first day that I felt good enough to actually get up and want to play any games. So I'm just getting ready for the raid. That's tomorrow.
What's your speaking of raids? What's your favorite raid in Destiny?
Oh, King's Fall.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
King's Fall, then Wrath of the Machine after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Their best raid was their first raid, and
they hell no. That's called rose-colored glasses.
Vault of Glass. So
that's rose-colored glasses right there.
What's just the one with Riven in it? And
no, that's Last
puzzle?
Wish.
Last Wish. Last Wish
is probably their best, their most technical raid ever.
It's good. It's good.
Last Wish is really good. It's up there. It's probably like it can fight for number 2 and 3.
The one with all the math in it.
Yes.
Like,
and the jump puzzle. Yeah. It's so good.
I hated it.
King's Fall is good too.
But then again, you hate Destiny, so it doesn't matter.
This is also true.
He doesn't like it when he's willing to spend money in the Iron Lord's chat talking about the game in a incendiary way by saying that, things about the game and pay $5 to do it. That's how much he hates the game.
It was $10 and it was worth it because it was a funny joke. It was hilarious. It was great. No, myself, I've been playing Halo. The new season started this week. I've been playing that.
I heard. How is it?
It is, well, it's a topic, so I don't want to get too far into it, but so far so good. So I'm definitely not complaining. I've been playing. I haven't uninstalled Rogue Company yet, but I'm close. I'm so close. I'm just like right on the edge of uninstalling it because I'm just so frustrated with how poorly everything is with it right now. But there's that. There's been playing more Wolong. I think I'm close to fighting Lubu. I think I may have like one more boss to fight before I fight Lubu. But I keep going back and forth between playing it on Xbox and playing it on PC because the PC performance is so terrible. It's just like it's bad for no reason. It's just it's literally awful. And I just there's like these weird like freezes. I had to turn off some settings because like there's this weird flashing that happens in the background that's very distracting. But like I think probably my biggest problem with the PC version is that the freezing occurs so frequently that like it messes you up when you're fighting bosses because Wolong is very parry dependent. Like the combat is all focused around the parry system. If you can't parry, you're gonna have a rough time playing the game. Period. Like there's just like no other way around it. Like other Dark Souls-ish games, you can parry if you choose to, but that's not like how you need to play. Except for Sekiro, I think Sekiro's only from Software. I haven't played Sekiro. I'm just kind of talking off of what people have said about it. I think that's the only one that's like you need to parry, But Wolong, you have to parry big time. And if you're not parrying, you're just getting dog walked by bosses. If you're very good at parrying, it's an easy game. So it's literally like that polarizing, that black and white. So I'm not trash at parrying, but I'm not great. So what doesn't help is the PC version. Literally, a boss is about to, and you can see the indicator when they're about to do one of their unblockable attacks. And I see the boss lining it up, and I'm just like, I'm ready. Like, come on, come with it.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna parry the hell out that, right? And I'm ready to parry. Then the game freezes, and then I'm dead. And I'm just like, damn you, Team Ninja. Like, you couldn't optimize this game for anything on PC. So I've like when I get so frustrated, I actually just play it on the Xbox. So it's been a struggle going back and forth. I've been playing that, and I went back to, because I never got a chance to finish it because there were just so many games that came out when this came out. But Crisis Core. So I've gone back to that. I want to make sure I finish that. Trying my best to get through it while trying to ignore the voice actor for Zack. That guy should not come back. When they do Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't want to hear his voice ever again. They need to get someone else because he's terrible. He's absolutely awful. And I've also been playing Fire Emblem Engage, which is, it's not as good as Fire Emblem Three Houses, at least to me. But I don't want to get too far deep into it because like I was talking to our friend Luca about like all my issues with it, which really just stem from me being spoiled by Three Houses. So it is what it is. But we can get into these topics. You guys ready?
Yo.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. So first topic up.
That sounded so generic. Yeah, I'm excited.
Sorry, I'm ready.
Wake up.
I'm
All right,
ready
there
to
you
go. Let's go. Also, side note, Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Freaking gorgeous. It looks so good right now. I just look over and I'm like, man, everything about it looks awesome.
Ooh, my kid just came downstairs saying no school tomorrow. I was like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, they're having a big snow day tonight. So she's like, yeah, no snow. I said, that means I ain't got to go outside tomorrow.
And be careful. Stock up on milk and eggs, you know?
No.
You spend $45 on 2 cartons of eggs.
That sounds terrible, but it's true.
Well, let's talk about Nintendo real quick.
Why?
That's all you.
Why not, man?
Why? You don't like Nintendo?
Well, that's not me liking Nintendo isn't important. Forte. What's important
I know,
is that it looks like the Nintendo Switch's successor might be facing some significant challenges implementing backwards compatibility.
Yeah, only time Sloman's going to pick a Nintendo topic when it's negative.
Now I feel I'm offended because now you
should
like
feel it.
I'm biased.
You
or
should.
something.
You are.
I am not biased. Well, I want the best for my Nintendo gamers.
Oh my
out
god!
Here, okay? Y'all don't want to fight for what you want. So
True equality.
Is that I'm fighting?
We don't have to fight, man. They're getting Call of Duty.
Not on this iteration of the system.
Yeah,
not Call of Duty.
Well, look. Here's the weird thing. If the deal is approved, if it goes through, wouldn't they be on the hook for the 10 years starting this year? Can they get a Switch version ready in like what T-minus 7 months? I doubt it. So probably would end up being next year. And if it is next year, look. So let me get into what this rumor is saying and what is. So there's been a lot of rumors saying that Nintendo's new system is coming out within like another year or so. Maybe this time next year it'll be dropping. It's using NVIDIA is still powering it with their APU, but it looks like it won't be a Tegra chip. So NVIDIA has like different versions of the Tegra chip, the Tegra X1 chip, and it looks like this one's going to be so different from the previous one that backwards compatibility isn't going to be easy unless they decide to include the Tegra X1 chip inside of the Switch so that it could just do straight up emulation from having the actual chip there inside the hardware, which would definitely increase the price. And we know how Nintendo rolls. When they launch their system, they ain't trying to take a loss at all. They want all profit. So more than likely that's not going to be the case. They could try some other ways of emulating Switch games, but it looks like it might be a no-go for that. And so what my question is for you guys is, do you think that a new Nintendo console that does not have backwards compatibility for all the games that have come out for the Nintendo Switch over the past 5 years, do you think that would hinder the success of their new platform? Forte, what are your thoughts on it?
You said if they do or if they don't?
If they don't have backwards compatibility.
No, it doesn't kid. No, it wouldn't. Unfortunately, I'm shocked that they're even doing this. Now, it makes sense if they're going to keep the same if they're going to go with the same structure or the same media device when it comes to cartridges, because every system that they've done had a different media device where what's the name of it? The Wii had regular DVD, it had regular DVD dual layers. The Wii U with the Blu-ray. The 3DS was on bigger cartridges. The 3DS was on a slightly different cartridge. And this is like on a SD card at this point for a small SD card. So it makes sense that if they're going to keep the same media standard, they would make backwards compatible. But at this point, and it's not me saying that they shouldn't do it. This would be something new for them. They haven't done this ever, like without some crazy workaround. I do think the Wii games worked on the Wii U. They did. The Wii games did work on the Wii U for a while, and then they did have the ability. They had an ability for you to use GameCube games on the regular Wii, but you had to get a special version or the original version of the Wii to make that work. They phased it out after time, so it wasn't something that they stuck with throughout the entire generation. And we see how they act when it comes to the eShop and stuff. You know, they'll shut down the eShop and not let your purchases go through, and you have to keep that old hardware in order to do it. So I've never thought they would do it, but I think we're also crossing into those generations where your media needs to go forward with you. So it's a good thing that Nintendo is actually working on something like that to make this happen. But when I saw that they're having issues with it, I was like, oh, of course they're having issues with it because they've never done it before. They're still trying to figure this out. But
it's wild that they're trying to figure this out, but they won't figure out how to just give you like some kind of achievement system. I'll tell you, their fans don't ask for it. That's why. Set up the system, and then just let the developers choose what the level of trophy or achievement is worth what. And then especially if it's a multi-plat, then it's just uniform across the board for whatever is already happening on the Xbox and PlayStation and Steam and in Epic Game, even Epic Game Store. Sorry, Epic Game Store has got achievement system. It's just, come on, Nintendo. Let me not harp on that.
Don't let me.
Deli, what are your thoughts about this? Do you think this would be a problem for them on their new system?
No, I don't think it'll be a problem. Actually, I don't think there ever was a problem with emulation or backwards compatibility on their hardware or on software side. I just don't think they care.
They don't care.
Yeah, I just genuinely don't think that they care. I don't think they focus it. I don't think they want to revisit old products in like a newer form. They release it. You know, they understand the fanfare behind it. They understand like the want and needs behind it. But I think they're too focused on pushing the sales, making and supporting the newer stuff, and then of course making sure that everybody can play and adapt to the Switch as humanly possible, which is kind of like the antithesis of like backwards compatibility, or like it's hand in hand to backwards compatibility, because you would expect that backwards compatibility would actually further boost that. But I think that, I don't know, maybe their metrics, it doesn't line up, or maybe they just, again, don't care. Maybe it's just not something that they want to put in, like, I don't know, let's say a generic number, right? Let's say they put in like $100 million to support this newer stuff on the Switch platform. Maybe they just don't want to make that expense, or maybe they're just holding it out for the newer stuff and making it like one big library. But I don't know. I would expect that backwards compatibility would definitely be a selling point for a new system, especially since there are so many adopters of the Switch. But I also do think that there are so many adopters of the Switch that without backwards compatibility or without like full support and just remasters that are just like, you know, rezzed up or whatever, I think that the new Switch, or like Switch 2 or whatever they want to call it, is going to sell perfectly fine without it, without backwards compatibility, because I don't think that that's something that is part of Nintendo's like mission statement as like game preservation. So I think that since it's not part of their core mission statement, I don't think that it's a pillar of what they want to focus on moving on to the next generation, because obviously it wasn't a pillar in these last 2 generations, I think, because the Switch and the Wii U, because the Wii had some sort of emulation, some sort of backwards compatibility, and some sort of support for that kind of stuff. But and the Wii U kind of just piggybacked off of it, so I don't really necessarily consider that like true backwards compatibility or support. But the Switch, it's like basically non-existent.
I agree, and that's the point I was going to get to. We saw it with the way things played out with the Switch console. With this current generation of the Switch, there is, instead of people complaining about not having backwards compatibility and backing it up with their wallets, Nintendo said, "Oh, you want to play that game that was on the Wii U? Well, here's that game, re-released, full price. Actually, no, $10 more, and we didn't change anything." And people said, "Sure, thank you." Gobbled it all up. So they're just like, "All right, yeah, hey, look, if we get backwards compatibility, cool. But if we don't, we gonna make money regardless. We gonna make some more money. We'll just re-release the same game that we dropped in 2018 for this new Switch Pro 2U thing, whatever it's called, and it'll sell out and sell like crazy once again. Problem solved." So. Yeah.
I'm generally not sure why there's so much fanfare and buzz around this kind of stuff, right? Because if you take their business model and move it to any other company, right? Let's just say Microsoft, right? Microsoft re-releases the original Gears of War, like the actual original format of Gears of War in this day and age, just, rezzed up to, cleaner or whatever, or like, maybe just don't even touch it, right? It's just Gears of War, no DLC, and charge $65 for it, right? I think a lot of people would be like, wait, what? Why would you charge that kind of money? Same thing with PlayStation, or same thing on Steam, right? Or same thing on Epic Game Store. This is the original copy of the game. Why are you charging full price, like full standardized AAA price for this kind of thing? But I think that there's just so much of the Nintendo crowd being starved for that kind of stuff that it kind of just ends up like on the back end working somehow, right? Like I've been waiting for this, Twilight Princess, any form of it in the new Switch, and I haven't been getting it. We've been waiting for Wind Waker, we've been waiting for Minish Cap and Majora's Mask and all of that stuff. That if they release some sort of Zelda game, I'd be like, dang, that's kind of crazy. I might actually end up buying because it's like, the closest or the second best. And maybe that's just a business model that they, that they're looking to aim or exploit, is the fact that they see so much crowd generation for it. They see so much fanfare for it. And they just ended up, kind of just riding those coattails for quite some time. I mean, like I've been waiting for Twilight Princess, any form of it, for like the last, 15 years.
You ain't the only one.
Well, Nintendo doing Nintendo things as usual, making money.
Nintendo out here being great.
Yeah, unlike
they're minding their own business.
Unlike some other publishers or developers who, WB Games had a great release with Hogwarts Legacy, but things are not looking as smooth with the game, at least with the game release, because we know how other things were with as far as social media presence and boycotts and whatnot. But no one's ever complained about the way Hogwarts Legacy looked or how the gameplay looked, but that clearly is an issue going on right now with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which got another delay. So Suicide Squad was supposed to come out in May. It now was announced today it's being delayed to later this year. I did not see an actual date of when it was going to be delayed to.
I love that.
Which is, oh man, that's great. But the reasoning, I think, is pretty interesting. They're delaying the game so that they could try to address some of the issues that people had with the showing of it at the latest Sony PlayStation State of Play. But I'm a little confused here because all the complaints I saw about that was in regards to how the game looked and how the gameplay looked. People said it looked like a mix of Crackdown and Borderlands, or Crackdown and can't remember what in Warframe. And some people, people didn't like that. Now, I actually liked the way the gameplay looked, but you know, I'm clearly in the minority here when it comes to that. If you didn't, I mean, this is the way the game is designed. Like, I don't
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this, Slow-Mo. When we watched that, and I said I couldn't stay. I didn't like the way it. I said I didn't like it, and you was like, "What you ain't like about it?" I said I just don't like the way it looks. I didn't. I said the overall the scale and the ability to fly around the environments looked really cool, because I know it's the one thing that you like, the verticality of the game.
Right.
But I just didn't like it. It wasn't that it was ugly. I couldn't put a finger on it. But it's interesting to know that I was not by myself on that, because that was like kind of a wild take, because a lot of people said, "Oh, this looks better than I thought it was going to look." But it was just something about it.
The one thing that I do agree with people about is that these little purple herpes pimples all over everything.
Right? Yeah.
Like what is that? Like, clearly it's like, please shoot me, I'm the weak spot, right? But it's just like, can you, like, if you're going to change anything, and somehow you're going to have to release it later this year. My biggest issue is like when people have a problem with the way the game plays, the verticality, the game design, you're not changing that in a few months. But, you know, getting the pimples out of there and making it like a different like visual aesthetic to, you know, let the player know where to target on this enemy or this big huge robot or whatever to kill it is fine. But like, so many people were complaining about it not playing like an Arkham game, that it's playing like something different, as well as people who don't like the live service aspects of it. We saw that with Gotham Knights. There's just no way you can just rip all that stuff out in a short period of time and make it a more traditional single player game. So like, what exactly can you do to address these issues? Because they're a little deeper than, you know, purple herpes pimples get, you know, annoying. Deli, help me out here, developer. What can you do? What can you do in like 6-7 months time to fix this game?
I mean, you know,
Oh, man. Put you on the spot.
I'm sorry. I don't want to sound rude, but you know, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot to change, because there's already a lot of mechanical things that are going to be set, right? So if it's going to be something like, I don't know, they said there was like a battle pass, they said there's going to always online, they said a bunch of that kind of stuff. Like 6 months, you know, I mean, like 3 to 4 months, we're looking at optimizations, we're looking at replacing assets, we're replacing downscaling and scope, we're looking at things, kind of just tightening up things to make sure that it's proper. But depending on how much of the mechanics, how much of the actual game is already set in stone, that's going to be something that is going to be a lot harder, you know. So like 6 to 8 months, I mean, they could change some things, you know. They can, most of the stuff, I think levels will probably still be the majority of the same. I think the core of the game will still be the same, the way it plays, the way it looks, the way it sounds, all of that stuff will be laid down pretty tightly. But it'll probably just honestly just come down to small, you know, feature changes. So it'll probably, maybe they won't have it always online, and they probably won't have a battle pass as egregious as, you know, X and Y or as it used to be, or whatever it may be. But I think majority of the story, majority of the gameplay, majority of the mechanics are already set in stone.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So this is why I kind of felt like, unless there was a major problem with performance or getting it to run, or making sure you have a performance mode that runs at 60 frames per second or at least close to it on consoles, or making sure that it's not a stuttering mess a stutter shader compilation, stutter fiesta on PC. Is outside of that, just release it in May, man. Like I don't think that you're going to appease the crowd that's disappointed with the way this game looks. So
Nope.
you might as well drop the game. It's not like you're going to drop the the battle pass, and drop the live service aspects. I mean, this is the reason why you made a live service game for a reason, and it's been decided to be a live service game for years. So you're not going to drop that just because a bunch of people didn't like the way it first initially showed, as far when the gameplay goes at the state of play. So just drop it in May, unless it's a performance issue that really needs the extra polish. just release what you got, man. I don't see what the point of doing a delay is if you're not really going to address the issues that people have. But that's just...
It was originally slated for May, correct?
Yes.
And it's pushed back to September?
They don't have a date.
Oh, they don't have a date in general.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just later
Well,
this year is what they said.
Yeah, I mean, if it's supposed to come out in May,
The game
and let's say May is what, 5 out of 12. So yeah, 7 months is the absolute maximum they got. On average, it'll probably be 3 or 4 months. So I'm thinking it'll probably be something along the lines of like August. So yeah, I think that because the game was already slated to be live service, I don't think that them, like, let's say, removing the battle pass is going to be something viable, right? Because that's
Right.
kind of tied into, well, how the game is supposed to function, how the game is supposed to work. They can put in an offline mode, no problem. I'm sure that's probably going to be one of those things that come out on launch, right? But yeah, actually integrating new things, changing things up, and swapping stuff, I highly doubt it. You know, it'll probably just be tightening things up and making sure that they kind of backstep on some of the decisions that can be, I guess, backstepped on. You know what I mean? So if there's, I don't know, if it's 4-player co-op and 100-level battle pass, that'll probably make it. You know, I can feasibly see something like a 50-level battle pass, offline mode, you know, 4-player co-op, or let's say they decide to add 6-player co-op or something like that. Little things like that is manageable within a small time frame, but nothing like redoing the final level of the game, or, you know, redoing the score, or adding any new characters or anything like that, because that's going to take at least 10 to 12 months worth of work. So yeah, it's releasing it now is probably, to me, I would just release it in May. I mean, they were really, really set on releasing it in May. They were really, really confident going into the beginning of the year. So maybe, you know, to be hopeful, maybe it's just not running well. Maybe it's just actually a performance thing, and maybe the game will just launch how it's supposed to launch in May, but just runs better.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I can get behind. If it runs like crap, please delay it.
Please delay it, right?
Do not release games that are not well optimized. I'm sick and tired of seeing that. I'm talking to you, Team Ninja, and Wolong, which the game runs like crap on every platform that it has come out on. And I mean, that's like the 3rd game this year that's come out and has run terribly on every platform that it has launched on. And it's just like, they don't seem to get it. They just don't seem to get in why people can't stand that, and why it really kind of ruins their launch. But whatever.
That's true.
Next up on the docket is a topic that I couldn't wait to get to.
No.
Absolutely couldn't wait to get to this topic. Forte. You ever heard of Riot Games?
I have. They make a game. They make a little game called League of Legends.
Yeah, little game. Little tiny game. No.
Little tiny game. One of the most played games in the world.
Yeah, one of the most played games in the entire world. They also make another game. You ever
Yes,
heard
they do.
of Valorant?
Yep, another one of the most played games in the world.
Right. So imagine my shock and awe when I heard that Riot Games is working on an MMO FPS. I'm like, MMO first-person shoot. How many MMO first-person shooters are there? I mean, I can't really think of how many. I mean, oh, Destiny. Interesting.
Yes. Yep.
So follow me down this road, okay?
Follow you down the yellow brick road. Yep, let's go.
Let's grab a little lunch, a little lunch box as we walk.
A little lunch box, okay.
Every time, so I look at Riot as kind of like the new age Blizzard, like Blizzard of old, not current day Blizzard, but old Blizzard, where Blizzard wouldn't release a game unless it met their level of quality. You know what I mean? So like how they canceled, I forgot the name of that game. Was it Titan or something like that? It was like some kind of, it was actually supposed to be something like this, an MMO FPS game, and they didn't like it. It didn't meet their level of quality. They canceled it. Makes sense, right?
It does.
Riot will prototype games and not release them. There is I forgot what kind of genre the game is, but no, there's a straight up MMO that I think that they were working on that they never released. But when they do release the game, it seems like they dominate the market. So League of Legends killed Dota 2. Just absolutely murdered it. You know, they should be arrested for that. Valorant, I mean, like, when it comes to hero shooters, there's no better hero shooter out there right now as far as getting mind share and having numbers of people play it. Like Overwatch can't even like, and at one point Overwatch was the guy that you had to look out for, but now it's Valorant. So it makes me wonder, should Bungie be afraid? What do you think? Should Bungie look at this as like, you know, we need to actually step it up, because we might have a competitor here who has the know-how, the talent, as well as the money to really go out and the resources to make a competent first-person shooter. And if it never releases, then we know that it was never up to par. But if it does release, that means they're pretty confident they're going to dominate this genre like they've dominated other genres. What are your thoughts about that, man?
By the time this game comes out, Destiny will be a footnote in time. Destiny is coming up on its Into the Light and Dark saga. Destiny will continue, but on top of that, we don't know what it's going to be beyond next year. So I think Bungie is working on their new IP, which is Matter, which is supposedly another. It's a first person, not only it's a shooter, it's a PvP combat game. We know it's supposed to probably be a hero shooter. It's probably akin to Overwatch and stuff like that. We really don't know that much information on
like
it.
Valorant, that's also coming to consoles this year.
Right. So that's the main reason a lot of people think that Bungie has kind of cut bait with the PvP that's inside of Destiny. For the most part, they're just basically supporting it on the lowest of lowest levels and basically saying we'll do balances and stuff in it, balance passage and stuff, but we're really not making content because we're making a traditional PvP game that's not gonna like be tied to a PvE sandbox and stuff. So I think by the time this does come out, Destiny will be something that is, I mean, it's still going to be something that persists, but I think it's going to be more like how Warframe is. Like Warframe still exists in a world where Destiny is, even on Destiny is the more popular game and more people play Destiny than they play Warframe, but Warframe doesn't cut itself out a nice little niche where people still log in and play it. Now, if this game from Riot does do something like that, I can absolutely seeing it, you know, dominating that market. But I think at this point, 10 years in, Destiny has already built the player base that they're going to continue to have, and I don't think they're going to really worry about that. I think if their next PvP game doesn't take off, I think then that's going to be something to kind of worry about. So I'm more worried about what the next Bungie game is going to be than what they already have with Destiny, just because they're coming up to the end of this saga. We don't know what's on the horizon, so we don't know exactly what to look forward to inside of Destiny, but I think they have a built-in player base, just like, you know, digital streams at this point has for Warframe. It may not be as big as it is now in like 2 or 3 years, but I think that player base is still going to be pretty sizable compared to a lot of the other games as a services that could be out there.
So you think that even, let's say if this game came out next year, 2024, you think it's a little too late to steal Destiny's thunder, or to
if it comes out next year, Destiny's Cassandra is next year. They're supposedly the end of the saga is next year. So even the people, you gotta put it like this, people didn't really like the way the campaign went inside of Lightfall, but a lot of people are still going to show up no matter what to that end saga, to what's going to happen in the final shape. It's just like Star Wars. People couldn't stand episode 8 because they destroyed the narrative and took everything that we cared about. And people said, I just don't like Star Wars anymore. But what did they do anyways? They still showed up to, Return of the Skywalker for episode 9, even knowing Star Wars destroyed all their hopes and dreams in episode 8. So when you're coming up to the end of something, you almost have to stick it out and stick it through because you've been along for the whole ride the whole time. That's just like you going to see all the Marvel movies, but not going to see Infinity War or Endgame. It's like the whole purpose of all those movies was to build up to this one point. So I think you would have a point if we weren't at this juncture with Bungie and Destiny. If we were like halfway through, like year 4, year 5, like before Taken King and stuff, where people weren't as super invested as they are now, then I think you might have a point. But it's just the fact that I think as of right now, it's too late to take those people away. But I don't think that's a long-lasting effect that can't change, because like I said, like once Destiny hits that point and people experience what they need to experience with Destiny, it's just thinking, like I said, just like the Marvel movies. People loved what they did with Marvel in the last phase, but look at Marvel now. The same people that loved what they did with the Marvel movies, all the way back to Iron Man 1 through Infinity War or through Endgame, they don't even recognize what Marvel is anymore. So that's kind of where I look at Destiny. We don't know what the future holds for it, but I think we're at that point where people just have to kind of see it through, and then we'll talk about it after next year. But it really just depends on what they do. But I think their player base is built in, at least until next year. That's kind of how I look at it.
So you're saying there's not going to be a Destiny 3?
I don't think they're going to do a Destiny 3.
Interesting.
I think Destiny will continue to be Destiny 2, and they'll do updates. They may drop the 2 in Destiny. I do think they're going to do an engine rebuild inside of Destiny 2, but I think I think they're going to do that. But I think the notion that they're going to literally do a Destiny 3, which is a completely new game where you're starting over, I don't think that's going to ever happen.
I do. I think it'll happen. And I think there will be a mobile game too.
Interesting.
Oh, you talking like know something.
I think there'll be a mobile game too. And I also think there'll be an extraction shooter.
Be a mobile game.
And I also think there will be a 6v6 competitive game.
Oh, I know there's going to be a 6v6 competitive game.
Do you know something?
Did he talk like he knows something?
Like I'm saying, anyways. I think that there's going to be a lot of cool projects in Bungie's future that will spell a lot of confidence for the company. And I think that there'll be a lot of projects in the future that will give anybody who isn't a Destiny fan or a hardcore Destiny fan a different outlet in order to kind of become part of that, like the Bungie element. I mean, Bungie is the closest thing we have to Riot Games on any of the console side, right? True. So I think that when it comes to actually Riot Games developing an MMO FPS, I don't think so much that they're competing, but they're sharing the same space. And I think that because the space is so kind of just really, really limited at the moment right now, because you're not really, I mean, who else is in the space other than Bungie?
And I think that's the reason why it could be a problem for Bungie, because I think that the reason why there are so few people in this space right now is that there's just isn't enough of that demographic available. Like it's saturated at this point. Like there isn't enough people who are down for this kind of game, especially those kind of games where they're huge time sinks, that like say if you're interested in Destiny, you're not really interested in any other looter shooter or MMO first person shooter, just because you don't really have the time. The way it's designed,
you don't have the time.
You can't really get the full enjoyment of playing something else. Kind of like how when it comes to like live service games, like you really you get a battle pass for one game, cool, but it's like, man, can I really complete this battle pass with Call of Duty, and then complete the battle pass for Halo Infinite, and then complete the battle pass for this game, for that game, for that? It's just like at some point people get left out. And I think when it comes to looter shooters or any kind of loot-based game, MMO FPS, third-person shooter like The Division, that kind of stuff, you have a limited number of gamers in the entire gaming community that are interested in it all together, and they're all fighting for this limited number. So you really have to almost kind of convince someone to drop another game to play yours.
And I think that with the star power that Bungie or even Riot has, I think that there's definitely enough audiences and enough media projects, I'll say, that I think that there will be a new audience, or there will be pull from different audiences, right? Because Bungie is not a name that it's not a newcomer. That's not a newcomer name, right? There's a certain reputation for it. I know that there are people that I talk to either on Discord or on Twitter or just in general in day-to-day life. They're like, yeah, I don't really play competitive shooters, but man, something about Destiny's gunplay, it's just second to none. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then they're like, yeah, they gave out the new expansion. I literally was talking to somebody yesterday, 19 years old. He was like, oh, they gave out the new expansion. I've never played Destiny before. I'm gonna check it out. Popped into Destiny 2. He was like, yo, this is great. This is fantastic. And I'm like, what was your catalog before then? And he was like, oh, all I played was Call of Duty and FIFA. And I was like, yeah, there you are. You already have pulling from a different audience, right? Like the global gamer base is absolutely massive, and they're going to do the same thing Riot Games is going to do. They're going to branch out into media. People are going to get attracted to these characters, these worlds, and then they're going to dive in. And whether or not you want to spend, let's say, 100 hours a month, on dedicated to Destiny 3, not that that's announcing Destiny 3. I'm just using that name. Just FYI.
Sure.
But 100 hours a month on Destiny 3, or you want to use it on Bungie Project A, or you want to spend it on Bungie Project B. I think that because they are crafting interconnected worlds or interconnected, projects, or just interconnected, just inside the umbrella of Bungie, I think that there's going to be a lot of good reason for people to play, right? So if they create an extraction shooter, a trio teamed extraction shooter, I think that they're going to be like taking over the what's it called? They're going to be taking over the audience that maybe Tarkov is, right?
Team extraction shooter. Give me an example of a game that's like that.
Call of Duty DMZ, the Division. Okay. You're looking at things like Tarkov. I mean, right now is a prime time space, because currently the only extraction shooters out that are worth anything that are currently updated are Call of Duty Warzone's DMZ and Escape from Tarkov. But Escape from Tarkov is a very hardcore simulator shooter. Yeah. So
are you saying that Bungie can do Division's Darkness Zone better than Max?
I think that Bungie can create an extraction shooter that will garner enough of the audience of other extraction shooters to pull, right? Because this isn't something that their gunplay, their game design, it's not their mechanics, their features, that's not something to shrug off. I think that Bungie has definitely a lot of talented people. I think their company is around 750 people now. They're on a hiring spree. It's absolutely insane. They definitely have the ability to make this and everything else. So yeah, if they just tie it in neatly, if they keep the gunplay that they currently have, or create something or build upon it. And I know everybody loves their sci-fi universe. I think the enemy design's great. I think the level design's great. I think, weapon design's great. I think a lot of people are going to really gravitate to something like this, right? And then if you talk about a 6v6 competitive shooter, CSGO just hit primetime numbers on players, this month. or last month, back to back to back. Most players playing. I mean, like, they're about to drop a sequel. I mean, the game has been out 11 years now, 2012, you know, and the franchise has been alive since I've been alive, 97. You know, the franchise is 26 years old. It's undefeated in the competitive space at the moment right now. Valorant is up there as well, too. What else? You know, we have Rainbow Six Siege on the console. Obviously, Call of Duty, Halo, those are kind of, you know, up there as well, too. But the amount of pull that, you know, CS and Valorant have, it's just asinine. So if Bungie can leverage their assets properly and really dive into that as well too, then they could easily become, you know, big three, you know. And if they have an extraction shooter as well too, Tarkov is exclusive to the PC. DMZ is free to everybody. The Division is getting support. And I think that I think that they could also
this gameplay, by the way.
What? I don't know, man. We were talking about Destiny, so I grabbed
maybe Vault of Glass, bro.
Destiny gameplay. Look, this is
oh my god
from Destiny 1.
This is Destiny.
This don't even look like it's got the update. This don't even look like it's got the updated PC shaders.
Lord.
They're
Yeah, so
PC shaders.
So yeah, if you're going for big three, I mean, I definitely think Bungie can take it all. You know,
I agree, 100%. I mean,
think when it,
go.
I think
Go ahead.
Riot is. See, okay, so like Bungie is branching out into other multiplayer avenues.
yes, of course.
Forte, for your thought about like could they do the Division better than the Division? The Division is actually, they would be competing with the Division 2. They would be competing with Division Heartland.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But could they do the DMZ better than they did it?
You mean the Dark Zone?
Oh yeah, the Dark Zone.
I mean, I don't even know if Heartland's going to have like a Dark Zone in it. It's literally the Escape from Tarkov with a Division skin. It's the same
right
thing. But I think Riot going into the console market with Valorant, I don't see how I don't think they're doing League of Legends. That doesn't translate well to console, I don't think. But I think Valorant does clearly with, you see the success of Overwatch on console, that like they could definitely put Valorant on there and do pretty well. That if it's going to come down to Bungie, Riot Games, and then Activision with DMZ, I mean, people on the console side of things, I think console gamers don't understand how big Riot really is. Not you, Deli. Clearly, like you know about it, but there's a lot of console only gamers that don't really have a lot of experience with Riot because they've been primarily PC. But when you look at the numbers of what people watch on Twitch, of what concurrent players, and console gamers think Call of Duty is the tip of the spear. When you compare it to what Riot does, that's not the tip of the spear. That's like the handle. That's like their numbers dwarf Call of Duty's numbers. So you have to kind of like respect what they've created and their ability to provide what a market is looking for. And it's not guaranteeing they'll be able to do what they did on PC on consoles or anything. That's just not how the world works. But I think a lot of console gamers out there should really kind of look out for them. I mean, maybe look out for them because you might actually have a game they're going to drop that you might actually end up being addicted to. But
no, I think that I think that there's something you should watch, but I also think that when you're thinking of the games that Riot put out, they're putting out more of they're not putting out traditional shooters or traditional. Outside of League of Legends, I mean Valorant, that's competitive above competitive right there.
It is.
So, and that doesn't and that doesn't match up to the majority of people to play the type of games that they like to play, because you got to think that game, and so is Call of Duty, so is Destiny. All of those games are available on PC. and people still choose to play games like Call of Duty and Destiny
But
on
just not as
PC.
much in
But-
that space
but you
as
also
play
No,
have-
they
Riot
still.
games.
I mean, Destiny. Like you got to think. Well, I don't know what the Call of Duty numbers are because those, I mean, for the most part, are locked to BattleNet. But Destiny still averages 200 to 300,000 people a day. Well, not right now. Right now probably because of the new season. But you know, throughout the year up until the last season, they were still averaging 200, 300,000 until they got to the end of the year where they always had their annual fall off, and everybody says the sky is falling because they're just tired of everything in the game because they've been playing the same thing for over a year. And then it boosts back up right after the release of a new DLC, just like they broke Steam charts for the most played Destiny experience since it came out, with over 400,000 people during the first week, average concurrent users. And that's all. And it's also games like, think about, you know, even if you think about games like, if you want to say League of Legends, Dota is literally right there. It doesn't have the high player counts that League has, but Dota still, like, if you look at the Steam charts for today, Dota, which is a complete and utter comparative to freaking League of Legends, they still average 642,000 players today at their peak concurrence. So it's different people that like to play different things. I just think in general, most people, when it comes to like those type of games, those are more competitive than anything. And the majority of people that you're talking about when it comes to the console side of it, there's some people that kind of roll that way, but it was like, think about when even Overwatch was at its height. Overwatch did really well across all platforms, PC, you know, consoles and everything. And it kept its player base until basically the game basically died on itself. You know, it wasn't the fact that people just didn't want to play it no more. They just didn't have content to keep people in there to want to keep playing it as much as they were versus all these other games.
And I will say something that I feel like you are absolutely missing when it comes to Riot Games, and this is to really boost Slow-Mo's point about like people should be scared of Riot Games coming into the console space. Riot Games does not publish products or projects that they aren't proud of, that they aren't willing to bet the entire ship on, right? Riot Games is a company that they will refuse to let a product die. And this is seen through their, you know, just through their entire company. They refuse to let any of their products die. Their fighting game that's coming out, I mean, look at Valorant. When Valorant was in alpha, when it was competing up against people like CSGO and Overwatch and Rainbow Six even, it was one of those things where the patch, this is insane by any degree in any game developer and any publisher. They patch the game every 3 weeks with a minor patch and every 6 weeks with a major patch. All right. Call of Duty doesn't do that. It's almost unheard of. CS doesn't do that. Dota doesn't do that. Like, that's an unheard of patch schedule. I think the only company that's actually able to do that, that can rival that patch schedule, cadence, and employee base numbers, and talent would be Epic Games with Fortnite. And even then, I think Epic Games' Fortnite gets patched every 6 weeks. I don't think they get patched every 3 weeks. League of Legends gets patched, a minor patch every 3 weeks. Like, that's absolutely insane. Like, they are on it. Valorant gets patched every 3 weeks. Like, you know, and they're not small patches either. They're gigs. So they're fully dedicated to this space to create. And also, too, their games are incredibly low skill floor. The barrier of entry is almost non-existent. All you have to do is just download the game and you're ready to go. Their matchmaking is top tier. Their you know, I mean, they have bots and, you know, basically bots in lobbies. Their, you know, their onboarding process is absolutely fantastic. It's just unheard of. I think that if they make an MMO FPS, which obviously they are, you know, working on it, and it actually gets its way into past pre-production and actually is greenlit, and Riot Games says, yes, let's make this a real thing, and whatever they want to call it, right? The Riot shooter. They are not going to let that die. They're going to definitely test, and then they're going to absorb the feedback. Same thing with Valorant. They absorbed all of the feedback they possibly could from many different sources, and they patched that game and they changed that game so quick, you know, on a dime, even pivoted, you know, changed maps like almost instantaneously. Maps will be out 2-3 days, and people would complain like, "Oh, this is not good." The pros will say, "Oh, this is not good." They'll test it. They'll send it across, different people. They'll ask, different professionals to come in and, from Rainbow Six and whatever. They'll test it. They'll ask other companies to come in and play test it, and then when it happens, it's like within 3 weeks, something changes from the map. That, again, unheard of patch cadence, unheard of patch scheduling. The amount of talent, dedication, and time put into their products is second to none. So I don't think that if they get into the console space, it's going to fail by any means. I think that it's going to be extremely casual, and I think it's going to have a high skill ceiling, so that people who want to play at the professional level, people want to play at the highest echelon, are able to, and then people who just want to enjoy the game casually can do that as well too. Also, their esports scene, unheard of. The amount of effort they put into their esports scene is, again, second to none. I think that they're just unwilling to let any of their products die, but also they take a really, really long time to incubate their products, and they don't pull the trigger very quickly as well too. So MMO FPS could be a pipe dream for another 6 or 7 years, and then when it comes out, it's going to come out done. It's going to come out proper. It's going to come out working, and it's going to come out with a huge feature set, and that's going to be a behemoth as well.
That's rare in today's market to release a game feature complete. That doesn't seem to happen very much anymore. I do agree with you a lot about that, Deli, especially when you talk about like casual friendly, which makes me kind of like think about how Call of Duty is like when it comes to first person shooters. A lot of people say that when it comes to controller, the aim assist in Call of Duty is probably the most versatile, the most friendly to casuals.
Yeah, they've amped it up over the years. I think they published a survey not too recently, like within the last year, that says, when it comes to console versus PC players inside of Call of Duty, it's like 46-44 or 56-44. I think, console players beat out PC players in a one-to-one gunfight the majority of the time. Over half the time anyways. And that's just I say what you want about it, but I mean, like, they are catering to their bottom dollar, and they do it well.
Yeah,
right.
And something that Riot is a hurdle they would need to overcome jumping into the console market is having comfortable, easy to get into controller support, because Valorant does not have any controller support whatsoever. Like, there's mods to do it, but they suck. And so like it is a mouse and keyboard game, and if you want to play it and enjoy it, you better get good at mouse and keyboard. If not, then you might want to go play something else. And so now, going into bringing Valorant to consoles, Riot's going to need to make sure they actually have really good controls, really good gunplay, the feel and everything. And I know that a lot of it's like Overwatch in some cases, where it's like not everyone is, well, no, let me not say that, because everyone has a gun in Valorant. I've only played it a little bit. I haven't played it too much, right? Everyone has a gun, right?
Yeah, you start off with the pistol, and there's an economy system depending on whether or not you plant the bomb, whether or not you win the round or lose the round. And then you have to end up buying shields. If you die, obviously you lose everything that you have into the next round. So whatever, it's entirely team oriented. So there are things like, if you're losing the game but you don't want to lose your gun, you can go hide in a corner, and that's a viable strat, because that saves economy. That, instead of running in and trying to gun-ho it and say like, oh yeah, I'll try to take out one. Well, it might be safer to go hide in a corner and save your
assets.
Yeah, and protect your assets and save your gun, which is, $2,700.
Someone will be doing that a lot in that game. He wouldn't be playing. He'd be hiding all the time.
If you save your shields, that's $1,000. If you save your abilities, because in Valorant your abilities cost money as well to economy, and then your gun, your main AR is $2,700. Your shields is $1,000, and then each ability is anywhere between 100 to 500 points. You can easily save like, $3,000, $4,000 if you just stay alive. even if you lose the round, because you're going to get, you know, round loss bonus. It's an entirely different set of skills. It's an entirely different set of micromanagement. There's going to be a lot to the game, right? And this is something that, again, their onboarding process is absolutely fantastic, because when you open up the buy menu in Valorant, it tells you exactly how much money you have, exactly how much money you're estimated to make next round if you win or if you lose. So it'll tell you the minimum amount of credits that you get if you know, which is if you lose the round, and it'll tell you the maximum amount of credits you get if you win the round. And that is something that you don't have in CS, or you don't have in Rainbow Six. You don't have any, you know, whatever. Well, Rainbow Six doesn't have an economy system, but you don't have in CS. So in CS, that is a learned skill to predict economy, to be able to track the enemy's economy versus our economy. In Valorant, they just give that to you. And that, again, is something that Riot is just absolutely immaculate on, is catering to the casuals, saying, hey, we're having a really, really low skill floor, so come play our game. And that's that kind of small stuff gives the edge to Riot Games when it comes to onboarding process, because it allows players to come in and say, yeah, I can play casually because I don't have to worry about economy. If you and Forte, Mo, if you and Forte come play CS with me, I will tell you the economy. I will tell you what to buy. I will tell you whatever, if we win or lose, or depending if you kill 2 people or we plant the bomb. Like, I can micromanage the economy in my head. In Valorant, if you come play with me, you can just look at the buy station, or you can look at the scoreboard and say, oh yeah, next round I should be able to full buy, which is a gun and full shields, which is, you know, 3,700 units or 3,700 credits. So you're like, oh yeah, I can, you know, we're good. And that's, again, that makes you feel like you understand the game better. That makes you feel like you're better at the game than you really are, which is great. That is, you know, player reward 101. That's absolutely fantastic.
I do like the amount of strategy that you described in that. But real quick, I did want to just narrow in on a comment that Forte said about running and hiding. You wanna provide an example of when I ran and hide in a
I'm not saying no. I'm not. Listen. I'm not saying you run and hide in games right now, but you just strike me as wait, hold on. You just listen. You just strike me as a person that if your weapons and gear is on the line, you ain't gonna risk your weapons and gear, and you gonna be hiding somewhere. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, look.
You ain't that gun-ho person that's gonna be like, throw caution to the wind, and I'm about to clutch this game up. That's not. I don't think that's you.
How do I play in every? Okay, think about every multiplayer
that's
game
completely
you
different. When stuff is on. Listen, it's just like, think about it like this. It's just when you're playing elimination. If you're playing one life, and your life is the only thing that matters. If you die, you're out of the game. People play completely different in those one life scenarios than they do if they're playing where it's wide open and you can just respawn consistently over and over and over again, because there's not a fear of losing something. That's the difference.
And what I'm saying is that you never saw me in the dark zone.
Oh.
Because in the dark zone, I wasn't the run and hide guy. I was the go find them guy. Go find the extraction and cut your rope right in front of you.
Cut your rope right in front of you. But see, that's also different too, because in the dark zone, if you died in the dark zone and they took your stuff, all you had to do was go find the person. You can find that person in the dark zone before they extract it with your gear, and you could get all your stuff back plus theirs. So what Deli's talking about, we're talking about, if you lose this game, there is no way you're getting this stuff back. You literally are losing it. There's no way to get it back unless you.
But that's okay. So literally, what you're talking, that's like Escape from Tarkov, really.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would play Escape from Tarkov if, I don't know, like I
don't play it. There's too many cheaters in the game.
There's a lot of cheaters in that game. I hear.
That's what I heard.
I've been supporting that game for like 6 years, and the content that they planned 6 years ago is still not out, so I dropped it.
Oh man, that sucks.
I'm also kind of leery of games that don't use launchers on PC, where they're just like, "Oh, you want to play our game? Come to our website."
Yep, come to our website. Yeah, I mean, launch it through this browser.
ESG does have their own launcher. You know, it's just it's just Russian things, man. They do their own thing. They're in their own world.
Yeah, and that's another. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd be having problems with that.
He said I'd be having those problems.
Shout out to Vay Babe, who's in here lying in the chat on me. But shout out to her
man.
for gifting a sub to Neil S. Neil, definitely thank Vay for that gifted sub. I'm sorry, that gifted membership. Also, tell her stop lying on slow mo. Be very, very well appreciated. We can move on. We can move on to the next topic here. Halo Infinite Season 3 launched, and I gotta say, it's not that bad, man. It's pretty good. They dropped 3 new maps. 2 of them, no wait, actually I think might be 4. 2 of them or 3 of them are in regular arena, and 1's in big team battle. There's a new gun that's like a DMR. There is also a new utility that's like a smoke screen. It's like a bubble, and you can't see through it at all, so you don't know who's in there. It's they got a couple of new modes, and look, and a new battle pass. I like it. I was been playing it. I played a little bit of it today. Didn't have too much time, but I've been any multiplayer game where I'll play without friends, you know I'm having fun with it. But I also played it with Enrique, Hamp, and our dear friend here, Deli, the other night, and we had a ball, man. We was out here just smashing fools.
Oh man.
But no,
Smashing fools.
Forte, you haven't had a chance to play it yet, right?
Absolutely not. I was waiting for y'all to tell me it was good.
That's fire.
You know how I feel about my disappointment in Halo. It's got to be good.
All right, but Deli, what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I love it. I think that they're well-needed changes. I mean, they changed mechanical things like thrust now allows you to keep your momentum when you thrust. So in Season 2 and obviously previously, it basically was like the worst pickup in the game because you would, dash to, whatever direction you're currently moving, and then you would instantly stop all your momentum, and then you would start again from 0. So you would go from 100 momentum, so you're sprinting, and then you would go to 150 or 170 or 200 or whatever. So let's just use 200 as a good even number. So you would move to 200 to the right, and then you would drop all the way back down to 0, and then you would get that gradual curve all the way back up to 100 again when you start running. But now thrust keeps your momentum, so you go from 100 momentum, 200 to the right, and then it slowly degrades back down to 100, so you can get right back into a sprint. I think it's well needed. I think it's great for traversal, centric players. I think it's great for movement. I think it finally makes the pickup actually usable and worth it. So awesome. Weapon changes. Commando went down from 8 shots to 9 shots. I don't think the Commando was really that good in the first place. I personally really like it, but I don't think it's that worthwhile.
I don't like the Commando at all. Yeah.
Well, now you have less reason to like it.
It was awesome in the flights before the game came out. The Commando was my favorite gun.
Too strong.
I agree that it deserved a slight nerf. But then they kind of just like megaton nuclear nerfed it.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, it's pointless because it's got all this recoil. But when you land shots, it's like it's shooting BBs. It's like, well, why even pick the gun up if, it's not doing all that damage if you land your shots, if you're accurate enough. It was bad.
I think if they kept it a weapon pickup, it would have been perfectly fine the way it is. Like, it's a little bit weaker. But 9 shots to the body, it's a kill. Like that's too much. That's a third.
That's too much, man.
That's a third of the mag, man. Like you can't. It's basically pointless. Go use a pistol instead.
Yeah,
it's 6 shots for the pistol.
And it's not as accurate as the assault rifle. So why would I pick that up instead of just using the assault rifle I already have? I'll just use the assault rifle instead. Sorry. I do think that they have really addressed a lot of the issues that people had with the game early in launch, like the battle pass, not having worthwhile rewards in the battle pass, not having like cosmetics that people cared about. everything I've seen in the season 3 battle pass, the new armor core looks awesome.
I'm about to download it now.
It looks amazing. I like the way my Spartan looks. You know, he doesn't look dingy right now.
He doesn't look ashy anymore.
Don't look ashy. Don't look like my armor was dragged down a road, you know, and scraped up for like 5 miles. My guy looks good, and I think they also, but they already addressed a while ago the progression issues that were there initially at launch, where people was like, I mean, what's my purpose after doing my dailies? Like, what's the purpose of even playing any further when I don't get anything for playing? And now they really addressed it. You got, I mean, these are things that are a little bit older, but they're still present and still something worth talking about. If you're the MVP of the game, you get more, you know, point experience than anyone else does. I think you earned it. You deserved it. If you're on the winning team, you get more than a losing team. You earned it. You deserved it. You know, it's just like little things like that. In addition to the rewards for the battle pass that are you know, pretty good. I think they may have gone a little too far in the too easy aspect with the challenges, because now so they had this limited time story event called I forgot the name of it, but I completed it in one night because you only get experience towards it by completing challenges, but the challenges are super easy, like getting a bunch of points, killing Spartans, getting kills or assists for killing Spartans, and what was the other one that was like just playing the game, play 5 games, play 5 matches. I'm like, I mean, like I was done before we were done with our session. I completed the whole thing in one day.
And we played like maybe an hour and a half or something like that. Yeah. I think with season 3, the biggest key takeaway from season 3 is the fact that there's finally consistency in a Halo game, right? Or at least in a Halo launch. Season 2 wasn't consistent because it was 6 months long. Season 1 wasn't consistent because it was damn near a year long, right?
Right.
And the gameplay, you know, they didn't fix the desync. They, you know, the maps were, I mean, they were something else, you know. The playlists were well, I mean, they just weren't working right. The core fact of a Halo is that it's a social shooter. It's a social game. You should have social game modes inside the playlist. You didn't have those for quite some time. You know, you didn't have core game modes that were fun for people, duos, ranks. You didn't have, you know, sniper shotguns. You didn't have all of this stuff. You know, you didn't have a Fiesta game mode until season 2. Like, it was, you know, again, the game is much more consistent now. When you hop into the game, Forte, and you wanted to play with your friends, that you just want to play and get challenges done, there's an entire playlist for that. There's an entire playlist for the new maps, new modes, new weapons, and the whole 9 yards. So when it says, hey, you need to get 5 kills with a sniper rifle, well, now there's a game mode that is, you know, that has the sniper rifle for quite some time. Yes. And in these new close quarters map, both Cliffhanger and what's it called? Can't remember the other one. I think Cliffhanger's okay, and I think the other one's whatever, lackluster.
Yeah, you don't have to fight over a power up like a power weapon on the map in order to get your kills. Like it's team escalation, and in team escalation, it's basically like gun game, where what happens is you guys are getting kills with weapons, and then you get your next loadout, and it's a set loadout, but once you switch to that new loadout, now you gotta get kills with that too, and sniper rifle is one of those. So like, I mean, like, you could literally, if you have a challenge that says get 5 kills with a sniper rifle, you can knock that out pretty quickly, pretty easily, just by running through the new playlist with the new modes. And it's just all, as Deli said, all new modes and all new maps that you're just rotating over and over again. And then if, you know, you want to get back to the old content, you can do that too. Just you know, there's a different playlist for that. Not playlist, a different mode for that as well. So,
and there's tons of them. Like the mode list is quite extensive. There's like 10 or 12 of them now, right? Which is quite a bit.
A couple months ago. It was either a month ago or a couple months ago. They added a playlist for the Forge maps too. So like the ones that they approved that are like really good, those Forge maps are now in a playlist and you can play those too. So it's literally everything that should have been there at launch is in there now. And so I guess what my question is in regards to this is, do you think they've done enough to get people to come back? Forte?
Did they do enough? I mean, man.
I think they did enough. I don't think it's
I
enough
don't-
to keep people. I think that's
Right,
that's a
yeah.
totally different argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Well,
because
then what do they have to do to keep people? Do they need to literally have like
they need to
that battle royale needs to really hit?
it needs to not be called Halo Infinite. That's what it needs not to be.
I think it just needs, again, I think it just needs more content. You know, I mean, when you're looking at other games that are like 12 seasons in, you know, Fallout 76 is like what, 12, 14 seasons in. There are people playing it, you know. It was rocket launch, and now there's a hardcore dedicated fan base that play it. You know, there are actually new players every single day. You know, they just gave it out on PSN for free, or PS Plus for free. So yeah, there are new players every single day, whether or not they're logging in to check it out or whether or not they're logging in to stay, you know. But Halo Infinite Season 3 is something that I will applaud for. Is that it's consistent now. It's something that I've been griping, and I've been very vocal about griping about Halo for the last 2 years now, is the fact that everything is inconsistent. The battle pass takes forever. The weapons don't feel good because of desync. The maps, whenever we get an arena map, it's just, you know, it's not symmetrical. The weapon pickups are all over the place. You know, whether or not the modes are even good on, or, you know, game objective modes are even good on one map is, you know, not good on another map, right? Like Capture the Flag, I think is horrendous on Chasm, which is the current map you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah,
I think it's horrendous on Chasm. The split layer symmetrical design is definitely a team deathmatch. It's definitely a Slayer oriented or like Fiesta game mode, because it's fun. You just spawn in, you walk out, you face the enemy. Not so fun when it comes to CTF when there's a respawn delay, you know?
Yeah, so there's actually a clip I saw on Twitter of someone capturing the flag on this map and then delivering it in like less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was
I
like
saw it. Yeah. I cried. A single tear shed, you know, rolled down my cheek, and I was like, wow, I as a level designer would kill myself right now if I saw somebody break my map in you know,
and it just came out
2 days. It just came out 2 days.
It just came out, man. Like they cannot do Capture the Flag on. There's some maps in the game like stop doing Capture the Flag on launch site. Matter of fact, just decommission launch site. Period.
Man, they have one flag cap on launch site. That is a different beast. Launch site sucks. Take it out of the game, please. Thank you.
Just get rid of the map. Period. Every time it comes up, like Enrique's like, slow-mo, just back out. Just back out. Let's just quit. I'm just like, Enrique, you know how terrible their randomizer is. Like, we quit. We're just gonna get launch site again. So we might as well just suck it up and play it.
I would rather play a Fiesta game mode than launch site. Any Fiesta game mode. I don't care.
I agree.
But yeah, the consistency is good. The leveling up doesn't take too long. I think like yesterday in an hour and a half, I leveled up 3 levels in the battle pass. It's really, really good now, you know, and I may be way too late to say that, you know, to sing its praises. Like, hey guys, it's really, really good now, you know, like 2 years later. But you know, I'm not going to be one to shy away from, you know, giving praises or saying that they deserved it, because they do deserve it. Season 3 is absolutely immaculate. Again, does it do enough to bring new players in? Yes. Will it do enough to keep players in? We'll see what happens if this season's dragged out for another 6 months. If it's not dragged out for another 6 months, then yes, I could confidently say when season 4 drops and I play, and I will confidently say, you know, yeah, Halo Infinite's doing enough to keep players, because, you know, seasons are only 45, 60 days, you know, or something like that. So yeah, there's new content arriving.
Supposedly only that much. Yeah.
But you know, when season 4 drops, I will revisit DPS and we'll have that conversation again.
Sounds like a plan, man.
So I don't disagree with you, because it's more of just my own personal take. I just feel like for new people, for people that never played or people that just never jumped into Halo at the beginning, I think this is probably a really good starting point for them to jump in. And it's probably best that they did jump in now because they're getting the experience that we should have got at launch. But for people that have went there and fell off, and you know, you guys are kind of the people that stuck with it even when it was bad. Like y'all played it when everybody was like, yeah, this game is just terrible. I'm not playing it again until they fix everything in the game.
Well, there was a period when the whole Bonnable incident happened.
But see, that didn't have nothing to do with the game. That didn't have nothing to do with the game.
Playing this period.
That didn't have nothing to do with the game, though. That was more of a personal preference because of just the statements of the studio versus the game. Like, you know, me on one hand, like I just refused to play the game because I felt like the disrespect of the game was so high for you to choose all these other things over the health of the game and the direction of the game. I just refused to play it no matter how good it was. And it took Slow-Mo lying to me about it to get me in there. And now, granted, I had fun.
You gotta bring up me lying to you.
Because you did. That's the only, because you know that's the only reason I got back into the game. I mean, it's the only reason.
It wasn't even like I lied.
He told me in the middle of season 2 that he said, "Oh yeah, they fixed all the issues." They ain't fixed no issues. Those issues are still there.
The only thing that was still there was a bit of desync.
It was the worst thing that you can have in a game.
It wasn't
desync.
even as bad as like.
Listen, I don't care what you say. A game that came out over a year ago with desync is terrible.
I mean, the desync was so bad in December, I stopped playing ranked.
Yeah, it's like, and that's another thing too. When you guys were talking about it in the chat and stuff about ranked and stuff, I said, yo, that's all I played was ranked in Destiny, and not Destiny, in Halo Infinite when it came out. Like, I had way more ranked games than I had just standard, you know, Rumble or just standard quick play games, because that's the only reason I play Halo is because of rank. And when I played that game and the desync was so terrible, and because it got me to the point where I felt like I was bad at the game. I was like, is no way I'm bad at this game like this, because the game was just telling me that I was missing people that I know I was hitting right in the freaking head. And then when they came out and they were talking about, oh yeah, you know, all the desync issues, and I was like, yeah, I thought it was something going on because I know I'm not this bad at the game. So that just kind of it just turned me off from it. So I'll definitely jump in and try this. It's just that I just don't trust anything that comes out with this game until I see it for myself, and it takes a lot for me to want to even. I have it installed still because I never deleted it, but I don't know, man. I just think for people that left the game because of the issues, it's going to be a hard sell to get them to come back, because this is all stuff that should have been there literally over a year ago. And if you were a person that stuck with the game over the course of the last year and a half, you played it sparingly off and on. I'm not saying you had to main it or anything, but if you played it enough, like once every week or so, or every other week, and you were consistently in there, at least finishing battle passes or participating in the new battle passes, in the new seasons and events, then they really didn't lose you as a player compared to the people that Deli's talking about, like, you know, new people. I mean, people that played the game and may not come back due to any stuff. And for people like me, I just feel like a lot of the stuff's not going to be fixed until they have a major overhaul of the game, or like we talked about late last year, Slow-Mo, it might take a completely new version of Halo in order to get people to be like, oh, okay, this isn't that crap Halo Infinite. Royale? Well, Battle Royale's not that for me because I'm not a huge Battle Royale person.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean, but like,
now for some people it will. I think for some people Battle Royale now, so, well, for some people it will, because Battle Royale will probably end up being its own. It's going to probably be a split. I don't know if it'll be a split off of the game, but it will probably be the one thing that could get most people back. And that really, but even that I don't even know about, because it's like I don't trust 343, man.
Well.
Just me.
Something that I've recognize this. I think a lot of the credit towards this update probably needs to go to the support studio that did the most of the work on it, because it wasn't 343. 343 is more of a steward of the IP now and kind of guiding direction and whatnot, and not necessarily doing the actual work based upon what I've been hearing. And so there's like 3 support studios that are helping 343 with Halo Infinite now, and all of them are working on the seasons, which is why they've come out and said that they have kind of solved the season issue, and there won't be these long seasons like Game of Thrones size, like length of seasons.
Game of Thrones size season.
You know, like when they say winter's coming in Game of Thrones, winter lasts like 8 years. Like, it's not like, that's not the kind of season they talk about no more. It's the actual season where she's supposed to be 3 months, 90 days, whatever. And so
yeah, they never need to do that again. A 9-month season, that killed it for a lot of people.
yes, a whole lot of people, and it may be unrecoverable for the game, but at least for those who just want a good, fun experience with a first-person shooter, season 3 has got that now, I believe. And I think if you're interested in coming back, go ahead and reinstall it and give it a shot.
How many people are playing Master Chief Collection on PC still?
Give me a quick second. I can give you those numbers.
Is there? I mean, I could just
at one point it was more than Halo Infinite, but I can't remember how long ago that was. But it definitely was.
44 minutes ago, 3883. So 3,000. So just shy of 4,000 players. 24-hour peak, 4,000 players. On Steam.
It was Halo Infinite.
Let me see.
I mean, we know there's more people playing it on console than PC, but still.
Infinite Steam charts say that there are 9,000 players right now, and a 24-hour peak is 10,000 players. So just about double over MCC.
I would say that's encouraging.
That is encouraging. Yeah, because it was below 5,000 for like maybe the entirety of the last half of 2022 on Steam. So that is good to see that it's up, and people really enjoy it. I mean, of course, this is like the first week is out. What's really telling is like, okay, when you check that,
what's it gonna look like in week 7?
Yeah.
Well, over the course of the year, Halo Infinite has, in April 22, there was 15,000 players, and then it hit 7,000 to 6,000 players in the beginning of July, end of June, beginning of July. So since July, we've had nothing but 6,000 players, 5,000 players, pretty consistent. And then we had a spike of 12,000 with the newest update in November, and then that dropped pretty considerably by the end of November. So November 10th, 10,000 players. November 24th, 7,000 players again, and then we've just been riding at 7,000 players until March 2nd, so about a week ago, which was 12,000 players. So yeah, there's consistently like around 10,000 players in the game. That's counting obviously PC and console.
Yeah,
nice. Okay,
well, that's Halo Infinite. Check it out if you want to. If not, we understand.
That's the game.
We understand.
Yeah, I mean, I will continue supporting it. I will continue talking about it, and I will continue critiquing it throughout the years to come. So I'll always cycle back to play it.
You're doing God's work, sir. I appreciate.
Hey, somebody's got to keep the franchise alive. I'll do it.
You'll do it. Got you.
And talking about another game that's a first-person shooter. Let's talk about the game that people wish the topic that people wish would just go away, but
oh god,
it won't. So,
the worst topic this decade for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about this ABK thing briefly, and I think the only reason I really want to talk about this is some of the discourse that's been going on over the past couple days with Lulu Sheng. Who is she's the CCO of Activision?
Yeah, Blizzard, yeah,
and she had a tweet.
Or is that I think it is Activision Blizzard, yeah.
She had a tweet a couple days ago that has kind of set the internet on fire, where she says that Jim Ryan, at closed doors, private meeting in Brussels back in February 21st, told her, I don't want a Call of Duty deal. I want to kill your merger. Which my response is
pretty funny, actually.
It actually, when I first read it, I literally laughed out loud.
Pure comedy. I felt like it was an Onion article when I first read it. I was like, I'm not falling for that.
Now, there's some who are like, do we even know if this really happened or not? Like, she didn't provide any receipts or whatever. I absolutely 1000% believe Jim Ryan told her that.
I do too.
Or told someone that and she overheard it, or it was relayed to her. This is what Jim Ryan said. I 1000% believe he said it. And I find it hilarious. And also for those in the community that are shocked, well, duh. Like, if you haven't been paying attention, clearly they just want to kill the deal. They don't want a deal. They don't want, I mean, they want to kill the merger. They don't want a deal. They don't want Call of Duty on some 10-year term. They don't want to lose marketing. They don't want to lose Call of Duty, period. They don't want to lose the getting the beta first. They don't want to lose the perks. They don't want to lose any of that. So they just want to kill your merger, bro. Like they're like, they won't pick up the phone. Of course not.
Nope.
I'm not picking up the phone until I know for certain this deal's a wrap. I'm not picking up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I applaud Jim Ryan for being the absolute businessman that he is, because that is like textbook. Like, look, man, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't want this to happen. I respect it. I genuinely do respect it that he's able to come out and say that to people and to their face. It's just funny, man.
Yeah,
it's just pure comedy.
Yeah, and I know some people are just like, it's not right. It's business. Like,
it is business. Microsoft bailed out Apple when they were broke, just for fun. In the 80s and 90s, it's business. It is what it is.
Yeah, and look, if the regulators, realize, hey, look, we think they might be negotiating things in bad faith. Maybe we shouldn't take their word. Well, if they get wise to that eventually, well, so be it. But it is what it is. Like, don't get mad at Jim for doing what basically his job. He's trying to kill the merge. He if you want to say him admitting that he just wants to kill the merger is him admitting he doesn't really want to compete with Xbox, that's fine. I can accept that too.
Literally nothing wrong with saying that. Again, he's doing his job. He's protecting his company, his bottom dollar. Exactly. He is the CEO. He isn't some analyst, some lumberjack on Twitter,
He took this position with them being on top. You think he's going to get the same kind of accolades that Sean Layden got, or any of the previous people in his role, if he allows Xbox to gain market share on him? No. So he's going to do everything he can to make sure that doesn't happen. So look, it is what it is. It's I think just funny, and I've been just watching some of the discourse online about this particular quote in particular. It's got to be just really just enjoying the comedy of it. Forte, what are your thoughts on it, man?
Interesting. I think that if this deal doesn't go through, it's going to be a real interesting renegotiation in 2015 with PlayStation on what's going to happen with Call of Duty in the future. Because it just seems like win, lose, or draw, Sony it's like they're not going to lose Call of Duty because Call of Duty's too big, and Activision isn't going to just, even if this deal doesn't go through, they're not going to pull it off PlayStation because that's too much money that they'll be losing. But I'm really interested to see what the fallout on their end would be with PlayStation. Like, Xbox probably won't have to work too hard to get that marketing deal.
Oh, so
They probably
you think bridges have been burned with
Oh,
this?
those bridges are burned, bro. I think Activision and Sony's bridges are burned, and the only reason you haven't really heard about it is because they do have a partnership in the works right now that is a contract binding agreement that they have that can't be changed until they renegotiate in another 2 years. I think that bridge is completely, because you got to think, she's the CCO of the company, and she's coming out and saying this stuff, and it's not like she's saying it behind closed doors. She's saying it out there for everybody on Twitter to see. God bless her, but I just think at a certain, and a lot of people are going to say, well, she doesn't speak for all of Activision. I don't think she speaks for all of Activision, but I think she speaks for the feeling that Activision has in this negotiation that's going on, because they want this deal to go through, because this is a lot of those people's way out. Like, there is so much money on the line for a lot of these people that probably want to move on from they may want to move on from Activision. They may want to go do something else, but they're going to stick it out through this merger because they know there's a big payday at the end of it. So they really don't care about probably the company in general, where it goes after that. They just say, like, shoot, we got a deal on the table that's going to give us even bigger golden parachutes that we had before. So I think that has a lot to do with it, but I also think that the way Sony is coming out and talking about it, it will kind of make me feel a certain way about it. And I think everybody that's on this panel and in the chat will kind of feel it. If you were trying to sell yourself, pause, and the entity that you have these deals with is the one that's stopping that sale from going through, and they're being the biggest opposer to it, I think that would kind of rub you the wrong way, and it would make you kind of think about your renegotiation of whatever deals you do with them in the future. Not saying that it's going to change it like wholesale, but I think it might be a little bit more costly for you to pull off the deal that you got before. I think more money will have to come up in it. I think that whole thing where they're the market leader, I think that kind of goes out the window. They're going to be looking at it like, okay, dollars and cents. How much money you going to give us to keep this deal? No discounts. Where Xbox
really
might get it.
Discounts like that before. I didn't realize until recently that the split, like with standard, when you put a game on someone's platform, the split of like of the revenue of the sale of the game, 70% goes to the developer / publisher, and then 30% goes to the platform. Apparently, Sony had been giving ABK more than that 70% back. I don't know what the exact number is, but it came out that in the, I guess, discussions or whatnot, it was either Lulu or someone else with ABK had mentioned it, that we're giving them the 30%, which is what they aren't getting on the current deal. So Sony isn't even getting the 30% per sale off of the game, although they're probably getting, a percentage of the microtransactions. But that's I thought that was pretty interesting. Because it seems like ABK has been kind of a shrewd negotiator prior to this to begin with, and it was even said in a way like Microsoft giving the milk and the cow over here, in these negotiations, and they're still not talking to us. But again, I still kind of feel like when it comes down to it, I really don't know what the CMA is going to do. I still, as I've said before in regards to this, is that I just feel like it just comes down to the CMA. The FTC doesn't really have a case, nor they know they don't have a case, which is why they're doing what they normally do, which is just kind of like stall tactics and try to wait out a company and get a company to give up on it before it goes to court, which likely won't work if it even gets to that point.
Right.
The EU looks like they're going to accept the behavioral conditions that Microsoft has put forth, but the CMA is the one that was always leaning more towards the structural side of those kind of remedies, and I don't know if that's going to change. Even if Jim Ryan screams from the top of I don't
Mount
know,
Everest.
Big Ben,
Yeah.
not Mount Everest because we gotta be in the UK, so Big Ben.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Or
Yeah.
the London Bridge. If he screams from the top of the London Bridge, I'm never going to negotiate. I just want to kill the deal because they're a competitor, and I have got zero legit reason to do so. They may still be like, yeah, we're killing the deal. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But,
I mean, I've obviously been avoiding talking about this topic for like the last year and a half or however long it's been around.
Yeah,
So this is
because
the first, obviously. But this is the first time I'm able to talk about the topic. Personal opinion, I don't think the deal will be blocked.
I don't think it is either.
I think it'll go through nice and dandy. I think the biggest case for Microsoft right now is the structural changes, and I think that there's going to be enough new structural changes that offer enough safety and supply to the developers. And of course, there are a lot of developers I've spoken to on ABK that want the deal to go through, right?
oh, really?
So yeah. So I think that there's definitely a strong case, and I think that the CMA or FTC split.
What changes do you think they will make to make the deal go through?
Well, I think that they'll change the structural change for Call of Duty. So instead of 9 studios and 3,000 devs working on Call of Duty yearly, I think that will change. I also think that Microsoft will allow unions, and I also will think that Microsoft will lax up on the overtime and work conditions inside.
But
I think those are very important.
Do you think that would get the CMA? Because it seems like the CMA doesn't care about those things.
I know the CMA doesn't care, but it's definitely a strong case because it's one of those cases where, if you look at the history of ABK as a company, right, even before Blizzard acquisition, even just Activision in general, the workplace, I guess the nice way to say it would deem it would be hostile. Right. Because I know one of the founding members of the ABK union, the Raven Software union. I talk with her actually every day on Twitter. She's an absolutely wonderful human being, love her to death. And, when she's not working at ABK anymore, obviously, but when she was working at ABK, there are literal Slack messages in the channel that's, in the public company thing that says, like, we hate you, we want you gone, we're gonna get you out of here, because from higher ups, just because she was promoting a union. It's hostile. I think is not. I think it's underselling it. I think that the work environment was definitely detrimental to a lot of people, women and minorities being two of those people, or two of those groups. So yeah, I think that structural change is definitely important, and I think that there's a strong case when it comes to the history of ABK as a company, or even both as two separate companies, that there will be a strong enough case to say, hey, we're here to do better, and we're here to make things better, and then this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to put our foot down. Now, is Microsoft exactly the star of the show when it comes to work environments themselves? No, but they've definitely made a lot of changes in the last 10 years. So yeah, I think they definitely will lead by example, or at least they will try to. And I guess that's just the best that they can do.
Cool. We can get off of this topic because I know that all 3 of us can't stand talking about
I hate this topic so much.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. Yeah.
Let's get down to the last topic, which I think is I'm not gonna say I've been itching to talk about this, but I got some issues with some people out here in this gaming community, and some of the things they've been saying about this last topic in particular. So we got the announcement that Starfield is being delayed to September 6th. And my issue in particular with this is that there are people out here running with a narrative that the game, this isn't a delay because they never gave us a release date. for the second. First of all, there was a delay. This is the second delay. The first delay, when they announced the game, they had a release date. And that release date was what was it, November 11th of last year. So that was the initial release date. They delayed it from that. And when they delayed it from that, they told us early 2023. They came out at E3 and said that everything that we're showing here at E3 are games that are coming out in the next 12 months. Now, clearly, they didn't show everything first party at E3. So if a game's like Flintlock, which they showed, which looked pretty cool, if Flintlock or Atlas Fallen gets delayed out of that 12-month window, that has nothing to do with them. They're not publishing the game. They're not developing the game. They're not financing the game. They just got a marketing deal. That's on the developer and publisher of those games. But when it's your own game, yeah, that's on you. And now I'm not saying that delays are bad or anything. I've always been an advocate of, like, if a game is getting delayed, go ahead and delay it. Because what we don't want is a buggy mess being released. We don't want that. Right. But what we do want is clarity. What we do want when you drop a show at E3 is the expectation of seeing games that will provide a roadmap beyond just the next 12 months. When they told us, hey, everything you're going to see, when Sarah Bond came out there and said, everything you're going to see today is coming out between now and next June, that was a shocker, because, like, there was no warning ahead of time about that. We didn't know that was going to be the case. So many people who after the fact acted like it was no big deal. I saw them before the show. Oh yeah, well, what do you think is gonna be there? Oh, I think we're gonna see a Vow. That's guaranteed. We're gonna see Hellblade 2. We're gonna see Fable. We're gonna see We're gonna see this and that. I think we're gonna finally see Compulsion's new IP. We saw none of that stuff because none of that's ready for the next 12 months. And when people just voiced their opinion and said, I didn't like that. I don't like that. That's not what you've been doing in the past. I don't like this change for E3. Don't ever do this again. When people said that, all of a sudden there was all this pushback. Oh, you guys are fake Xbox fanboys. Fake Xbox fans. You not real fans. I guess only real fans just agree with everything that they choose to do. I guess that's what a real fan is. But regardless, I've been seeing a lot of talk from people over the past week, this week, where people are saying, it's not really a delay because they didn't give us a date. They just said early 2023. Did any of you have that same energy when God of War Ragnarok was announced for 2021? Late 2021. I knew it wasn't coming. And it didn't have a release date, but when they delayed it to 2022, did any of you say, well, that wasn't a real delay? It didn't have a release date. Stop being hypocrites is what I'm saying to y'all. Stop, because it's easy to point to you guys flip-flopping for whatever side that you're fighting the good fight for. Just cut it out, man. It's not bad that it got delayed. It's a Bethesda game, a Bugthesda game. It's going to have bugs. They're trying to get all the quality assurance, get all the bugs out. Good. But the issue isn't Bethesda and having to delay the game. The issue is, why the heck did you have a show where you only showed the games that are supposed to be coming out for the next 12 months and you couldn't even keep to that? So what was the purpose?
That's true.
Should have just showed everything that people wanted to see. And so for this show coming up in this June, I don't want to hear what we're showing today is only going to be games coming out between June 2023 and June 2024. You better take whatever that is. Cut it out the show. Just cut it out. Just edit that part out the show and give us what we want to see. I'm sick and tired of waiting. I want to see Fable. I'm a Fable fan. I want to see Fable. I'm tired of waiting. I want to see Avowed. I don't care if it's not ready yet. Give me a vertical slice, pretty it up, and show me a trailer, please. Show me what. It's weird because it's like when Phil Spencer had Matt Booty's job with 5 studios, he didn't have a lot of games coming out. But it makes sense. He only got 5 studios.
Right.
But Matt Booty got 3 times as many studios, and he ain't got more games coming out. So what's going on? You got 3 times as many studios, but you still not dropping more games. Imagine if they didn't have Bethesda. In the past 2 years, they would have dropped Pentiment.
Oh man.
Oh, Forza Horizon.
And Forza Horizon.
And Halo. Halo.
And Halo.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Like, come on, man. Just show us what you got. And I just that's my full thoughts on it. Forte, what do you think about this delay, man?
I could care less. People were going back and forth with it. I was sitting there like this. I said this on Brap yesterday. I was like, he asked me what I thought. I said, you know what? This announcement was basically to give people something to talk about. I said, we still don't know anything. I said, they announced that it was a release date, which is probably the best date, and they announced that the showcase is in June. Outside of that, this was basically, all this announcement did was give content creators something to talk about and to start arguments on Twitter about a delay versus a delay. Now, the biggest thing that I always talk about is never do 12-month windows ever again. Never, ever. It's like, because all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure, because if you can't hit that window, then everybody's going to basically say you're a liar, and then they're going to call your game a delay when it comes out after the fact. So I was actually thinking this is a good date for it. I do think September is a really, really good moment for that game to come out, because it doesn't cannibalize the whole fourth quarter for them. So it still opens up an opportunity for them to release something like Avowed or Hellblade in November, or even in late January or early February, because it gives it room to grow. Room to breathe. So I do think this is a good thing. Now, a lot of people are thinking that Forza could get pushed back a little, so Forza could end up being the late holiday, because usually Forza is the game that comes out in September. So I really don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm just happy that we actually know when this game is coming, because I really could care less if the game was delayed or not. I just need Xbox to start releasing games. Like Redfall comes out in May, Minecraft Legends comes out in April. So we're starting to see the fruits of waiting as Xbox fans, but I just need those games to come at this point. So when they said September, I was like, when people are up here saying, oh, it got delayed to September, it's not in the first 12 months. I'm like, who cares? At least you know when it's coming now. At least you know to set a time. Now, this granted, if they don't delay it again, which I don't think they would announce a date and then delay it again, but at least we know when it's coming. And people are just arguing about this just to argue about it. All the feedback I got from Microsoft is basically, when you do E3 next year or this year, or your Xbox showcase on June 11th this year, don't talk about time frames anymore. Just say this game is coming out. If you don't know when it's coming, just say holiday 2024, or don't even say that. Just say 2024. Or don't say. I mean, honestly, they got to say something, but don't put a time period on when it comes out. Don't say, oh, all the things we show at this showcase is going to be it's going to be out in the next 12 months. Yeah, because that's what this whole conversation is coming back from. And shout out to my UK brethren, when they were doing the reveal of the date, you know how America, they do the date, we do the date like 9/6/23, but the way they revealed it in the video, they revealed it like it was coming out in September. Like it was September. They did the 6 first, then they did the 23, then they did the 9 at the end. And all of the European people were like, oh my God, it's coming out in June. And then I was talking to Boxenberger about it. He thought it was coming out June. Until he thought about it, he said, no, this is an American date, the way that it's, arranged. And that's when he realized it was September. So I thought that was really funny because a lot of people thought it was coming out in June. But just don't do the 12-month window again. I'm just happy it's coming. This is one less thing we got to worry about now. And hopefully the ABK deal is the next.
Yeah. I see a lot of people in the chat. We got some people saying it's whining to mention this. How is this? It's always interesting how people choose the phrase words. It's whining when I don't like what you're saying.
Right.
It's telling the truth, keeping it real when I do like what you're saying. Like you're not gonna push me off my square by trying to redefine what I'm saying just because you don't like to hear it, but you're gonna hear it. Like this is they got studios that they acquired in 2018 that haven't shown us a second of gameplay yet. Yep, I'm not saying that like game development is easy. It's clearly not easy. And I mean, we have a developer here on the panel who could attest to that. But what I'm saying is that these studios were acquired 5 years ago. One of them has gone radio silent since then, and the other one has given us a CG trailer that clearly was nothing gameplay related, and that's it. I know for a fact because I've talked to someone that works for a studio that Fable looks good. So
that's what I hear too.
So I just want to see it. It looks good. Great, show it to me. I want to see it. And it's just like, it's funny that like certain people just can't accept any kind of criticism for the platform that they love and adore. If we were sitting up here going in on Sony, it would be the reverse. We'd be having people coming in here saying we're whining because Sony ain't dropped a showcase in a year and a half, that we don't know anything about what they're making or what they're working on beyond Spider-Man 2. All they shown us is Spider-Man 2, a teaser trailer for Wolverine that probably ain't coming out in another 3 years, and concept art of factions.
I agree with that.
When we bring that up, it's like the reverse. The people that are upset right now are all like, yeah, where's the conference at? It's funny. Just what all we're saying here is that what we said last year, which was deciding to only show the next 12 months, wasn't a good move. And we said, because what if you can't make that window? You decided to focus your show strictly on 12 months.
Yep.
And then you couldn't even keep to that 12 months. So why not show everything that you had in store that could be shown? Now I know we've been doing a lot of talking. Deli, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, I think it's perfectly fine that they said, hey, this is playable the next 12 months, because at the time it was playable in 12 months. And then of course throughout the time they said, well, this isn't playable in 12 months. Bethesda was like, let's push it back, whatever. Honestly, I don't think it's lying. I don't think it's deceitful. I don't really necessarily care. I think that as long as they come out and say, hey, we're delaying the game, I'm okay with it. I always push for developers to have more time.
I'm about to say
So-
the Deli is on the developer side right
Yeah,
now.
I'm a little biased, you know
I'm
what I
on
mean?
I'm on the
I'm on
developer
their side too.
I never said like, oh, they shouldn't have delayed the game. Oh, they should
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
to. Like, I'm not saying, well, they should have been like, if Todd Howard was like, we need to delay to September, and then like Phil Spencer's like, well, tough titties. I said this game's coming out in the next 12 months. Guess what we doing? Like, I'm not saying that. The decision to delay the game if it needed to be delayed was the right decision. What I say is the wrong decision is how they ran E3 of 2022.
Right.
Well, you know, in the lens and optics of 2022, at the time, Starfield was ready to go in 12 months. That was the information that I had to go on. If it wasn't ready in 12 months, I don't think that they would have told Xbox or Phil Spencer or anybody, hey guys, this is definitely shippable by Q2. You know, if somebody said that, if Todd Howard said that to Phil said, I believe you, Todd. And Todd goes, you know, and Phil goes out on stage and says, hey guys, you know, this is or what's her name, Sarah Bond, yeah.
Sarah Bond
Comes out on stage to say, hey, this is all the information we have. You know, Starfield will be playable in within the next 12 months, right?
But
and
that's fine for any other publisher but them. And they can just keep it
I understand
they
the
can't-
history of Xbox is like, hey, wait some more, you know, wait faster.
Yes.
You know, I understand the kind of, you know, I understand the negative connotation behind
Because
that. So
literally
yeah,
everyone who heard that was like, you telling me all 30 plus of these games that you just showed, especially your games, are going to come out in these 12 months? Really?
again, a lot of things changed very, very quickly.
And
Todd Howard is
it's looking like it's
you know,
not
he's
just
a
Starfield, because Forza
Todd-
Motorsport's going to miss that 12-month period too. So out of all their games, they showed, was it 3 games they showed at E3?
yeah, it was Redfall. Starfield had its own direct, but I guess on YouTube it's Xbox Plus Bethesda, so I guess Starfield would.
I think they
would count that
started
as well,
the
too.
show. They started the show with Starfield gameplay.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay.
Starfield was there at the show.
Oh, yeah, it was
Starfield,
in the showcase.
Redfall, and then it was Forza Motorsport. It was
Forza
those three.
Motorsport, yeah.
One out of the three is actually making they are
The 12 months, yeah.
they are the ones that can't keep the promise. It's not the other developers they showed there who.
Yeah. Well,
It's
if
them.
I look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's all the information they had there at the time. Now, if they had spoken to the company, and the company said, "Hey, you know, can we do this?" The amount of confidence that you have to have between publisher and developer. If you came to me as Phil Spencer and said, "Hey, Deli, can this ship in the next 12 months?" and I go, "Yeah, bro, this easy. Next 12, this will be out
Easy.
May. This will be out May, no problem." And then I come to you in November and say, "Hey, Mo, you got some time to talk? We need to talk a little bit." And you're like, "Yo, what's up? Come in my office." And I say, "I don't think we're gonna make May." And you say, "Why not?" And I say, "I don't think we're gonna make May because it's not done. It's gonna ship rough. Is there any way I can get more time?" And this is the only amount of time that you can squeeze out. Would say, "Well, September is the absolute latest that I can give you." And it's like, you know, somebody put Phil and Sarah Bond and Xbox as a whole in a bad position, right? And that's just the nature of the industry. That's just how things go, you know. And I don't want to I understand criticizing Xbox. I really genuinely do, right? And I'm one to criticize Xbox quite often, and Sony, and just everybody in general. I think that Microsoft really needs to double down on you know, I don't know what they have to be doing over there, but they do need to crack down, and they do need to, like, you know, tighten up when it comes to the actual release schedules, because I'm not entirely sure why the amount of developers that they have can't, you know, ship these games if the deadlines are as tight as they are, right? But obviously these deadlines are kind of loose because they're giving these developers, you know, 3-month leeways on top of that, right? When the original God of War could not ship in February, they said, "Hey, how much time can we get?" Sony said, "Look, you're not getting more than 2 months. You know, you're not getting more than 2, maybe 3 months. And they shipped April, you know, they shipped 2 months later in April. And if Microsoft has to run a tight ship like that, then so be it, and they should, right? You know, I'm
okay, like it is. I can't wait
Go ahead.
to ask you this question. How tight a ship is it if Matt Booty wanted to show Fable at Gamescom last year? And
Not a tight ship at all.
You already knew what I was about to say.
Let's just get this out the way now.
Hey, I'm not gonna play. Hey, I'm not gonna play with that one. You know, you're gonna get me with that one. Not a tight ship at all. You know, if Matt Booty comes up to you and says, "Hey, can we show this off?" and you say no, it's not even physically possible. They go, "Oh, well, okay, whatever." You know, then we'll axe it from the thing, right? But like I said, I think they do need to run just a little bit of a tighter ship when it comes to their development studios and their in-house productions and just their publishers and their partners in general. Because I think it would be kind of disrespectful to say, hey, originally you promised me the next 12 months. But at the same time, to make an executive decision to say like, hey, I think it would be detrimental to the game if we force the 12-month deadline. If the end of June is all you got, Todd, and Todd comes out to you and says, look, man, it's going to look scary. You know, what kind of decision do you have, Mo, as an executive decision? And not to play if it was me, not to be on Phil Spencer, not to be guard. I am white knighting Phil Spencer and Xbox right now. To be that, but that's a real situation. That's a very real situation.
There's no question I'm delaying the game. If Todd comes to me and says, Slow-mo, I need more time, say no more, Todd. By the way, please take that jacket off. You've been wearing that for 5 years. But say no more, Todd. Yeah. You got your delay.
But then, you're
going at right after that. I'm calling up whoever had the idea that we go into E3 last year talking about let's only show games that are coming in the next 12 months. I'm saying, hey, Bob, come to my office. As soon as he walks in, thank you. You're fired. Get the hell out.
We need that 12 months. That 12 months needs to be a concrete deadline. It's not a is this, because chances are,
all I'm saying.
Chances are Phil probably came to the studio or sent an email that says, hey, Todd, do you think it'll be ready? And Todd would be like, yeah, no problem, dude. It'll be ready. And then Phil went on that, right? Phil was like, how much of it's playable? It's like, 80% is playable. Oh, sick. Oh, yeah, it'll definitely be done in 12 months. Yeah. He'd be like, yeah. Todd's like, yeah, man. For sure. 100%. And then, 6-7 months later, this Todd comes up and says, hey, man, it's not done. Yeah, they do need to run a tighter ship because you do look like an idiot. Genuinely. Especially when you stand in front of 10 million people and say, hey, this is our promise. Because this isn't some middleman. If Bethesda came up and said, hey, this is what we're going to show in the next 12 months, totally different story. Because Bethesda's Bethesda, right? Like there's no, what's it called? There's no middleman there, but right. When Phil is literally the middleman between us, Microsoft, and this exclusive that Microsoft is paying for, and if he got fed bad information, it looks terrible and it makes the brand look terrible. And it has been making the brand look terrible for quite some time now. Mm-hmm. And again, he does need to run a tighter ship, or anybody really needs to run a little bit of a tighter ship. I mean, again, I would not want Todd to abide by those 12-month rules and say, hey, man, you got to ship and play fast and loose. But, sometimes you got to put your foot down and say enough is enough,
Right. I agree with that.
Because I think it's savable, I think if the game launches rough, I think it's savable because I think, for better or for worse, I think Bethesda has garnered enough reputation to be able to kind of, slide. They got that Teflon Don skin, Yeah.
But I think what it all comes back to for me is that it shouldn't be down to Bethesda saving the whole ship. Like Xbox Game Studios is 15 studios that have nothing to do with Bethesda. And
yeah, and again, it's not even a totally different argument. It's the same thing. Run a tighter ship. I just don't understand. You know what I mean? If I was a brand loyalist, if I was genuinely a brand loyalist, right, and was sitting there every single day waiting, oh yeah, this is what they gave us, this is the information they gave us, and every year they say, hey, can you guys wait a little bit longer? I think it would be very, very hard to be a brand loyalist, it would just be detrimental to, you know, someone's health. I guess I know this is a hyperbole, but this is detrimental to somebody's health. And I guess I see it on Twitter. It is actually detrimental to some people's health. People do actually lose their mind over this kind of stuff, over these delays, because they are grown men arguing with other grown men on the internet. But yeah, these delays, like, you know, people bank on these. People take days off for that kind of stuff. It's weird. I don't take days off for video games anymore since 2016. I don't believe in doing that anymore.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore either since I
Yeah.
work from home, so I can't.
Yeah, right. You don't have to do that.
I don't have to do that. You know, I'm on the conference call and it's like, you know, I just mute the phone.
Yeah, you got
whatever.
Zelda going in the background. Yeah. But yeah, I think the brand does look bad. I think they're in a bad spot right now when it comes to the actual communication. Do I blame them? No, but facts are facts. You know, the brand looks rough right now, and it has been looking rough for the last couple of years, and it has been looking rough for the last decade. They need to come back. They need to do something, right? And I and many other people that are excited for games, just in games in general, right? Not specific brands or whatever, just games in general. I'm tired of waiting to the next year because, you know, I know I may not be old to some of y'all, but I'm almost 30. You know what I mean? I'm closing in on 30. I'm sure
30.
Perfect Dark will be out by the time I'm 30. You know, what's it? Metroid Prime 4 was announced when I was 17. Or yeah, when I was announced when I was like 19. I'm 26 now. That's almost 7 years. You know, I don't want to wait 10 years for a game anymore. By the time the game comes out, I've lost my interest. So if Starfield gets delayed or whatever, Perfect Dark gets delayed another 2 years, I'm going to be 28, 29 by the time it comes out. I don't care about the game anymore. That was announced.
Have carpal tunnel at that point.
Yeah, that game, what was it? It was announced in development in 2020 or something like that. It's been 3 years. You know, if it comes out when I'm 30, that's a 7-year development cycle. We don't have time for that shit anymore. You know, and I'm sure that 30 is not an old number for a lot of people, you know, but I mean, if you think about the general logistics of that, you know, everybody has families that are growing up and stuff. If you're 35, waiting 7 years for a game, that's not funny anymore. You know, especially if you're 35 and on Twitter arguing with other people, you know, it's not funny. It is not funny to say, hey, we're going to wait until next year.
I got a couple things to address. So shout out to LCY with the $2 super chat. Says cheese to go with Slow-Mo's whine about Starfield. Jokes on you, CY. I am lactose intolerant. I can't take your cheese, so you can keep that. Okay.
Uh-oh.
It's not even
I'll take
pepper
it.
jack. It's not even good cheese. You got government cheese you tried to give me. That's cheap. How dare you?
Yeah, you that Focus Hope cheese.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Mike in the chat, who doesn't know that Disco Elysium is the same style of RPG as Pentiment, and when he told me that only Xbox would approve of making a game like Pentiment, when the idea of Pentiment came from Disco Elysium, which was also published by ZAUM. So, yeah.
Fire. Disco Elysium, fire.
Yeah,
Absolute heat.
And Disco Elysium is a superior game. It is what it is. Like it's like if you play Disco Elysium and you play Pentiment, you know. I'm not saying Pentiment's a bad game for what they were attempting to do. It is a good game for what it does. It's just that Disco Elysium's on a whole nother level.
It genuinely is.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
phew.
Cheese.
Oh my god.
Would kill me, Erodimus. Yes.
EpiPen gang.
Cheese would kill you.
Actually, cheese wouldn't kill me. Well, it would definitely kill the toilet. But no,
Oh my God.
and proving further my point, Mike doesn't even know who that is. So I need Mike to do some research on games. If you don't know who that developer is, that publisher is, you don't know who you don't know what Disco Elysium is. You should probably play that. It's pretty good. But let's get up out of here. Look, like
Yeah.
we have.
But I think we all collectively agree on the panel that Microsoft's looking a little rocky this year, especially with the promises that they made. Because
Yes.
Oh
it's-
yeah, easily.
Yeah, I mean, it
all
is,
I'm
you know, it
saying
is what it is.
just don't promise that at E3. Show us.
Yeah,
games.
I mean, I would rather you just say these are the games that are coming out in the future.
Yeah. And
Just give me the year. Just be
yeah.
like next year.
And
sometime.
if you show us something amazing that looks awesome, but it's not coming out to 2025, no one cares.
Don't show it. Please don't. Please do not show me something that is not coming out until 2025.
Don't put me out that far.
I don't care. Don't even show it. Don't even tease it.
No,
don't even mention
I'm
it.
fine
Please.
with it. I'm fine. That's 2 years from now. It's 2023. That's 2 years from now, Deli. If you show me something that looks fire and it's coming out in 2025, bet.
Better be coming out Q1 2025.
But then you're gonna be like Hellblade and be like, it's already almost 4 years. It's 3 years, 7 months since that game got announced.
I'm also under the belief that you should hold media broadcasting until like the last possible moment. I know it's probably the most annoying thing on planet Earth, but if a game's not coming out in the next 18 months, I don't care. I genuinely do not care. I like the rollout. I like the old school, developer diaries. I like the old school like marketing stuff. I want to be part of the hype train. I think it's part of the experience. I think it's fun. I can't be hyped for a game that's coming out in two plus years. If somebody says, "Hey, this will come out in 2 years," this will come out in 2 years,
I need a
and then it comes
roadmap.
out at the back end of 2 years, I'm not doing that.
I need a roadmap. I need to know what's coming out next year and the year after. Now we get the 3 years out. Yeah, look, like when what's that game that the Just Cause devs, Avalanche Studios, what's it called? Contraband,
yeah.
Like I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Nobody knows what it is. It was teased and it had a title, which was sick. Great, we love that.
As far as I know, it's a car mechanic simulator. Because all they showed me was a garage and some tools and a car being worked on. I have no idea what the heck that is. That's not the kind of like thing that I like. I'm not talking about like that. That's too soon. Hold that off, right? Show me something that is like I can tell what the game is. I got snippets of some early vertical slice gameplay.
I need like 5 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, I need something substantial and be like, this comes out in a couple years. Bet. I'm hyped. I want to play that. That's it. Contraband, I don't even know what that is. So it's like there's a balance that I think that Xbox leadership hasn't been able to figure out yet. Because they go from one extreme to another. Because I know part of the reason why they did what they did last year is that 2 years ago when they did E3, they showed stuff like Contraband, which was too early to show. And it's just they had teaser trailer after teaser trailer. And people was just like, what was that game? Is it multiplayer? Is it sick? What is it? I don't know what that is. What's this next game? What is that? What is that? Like, that's too much. But it's like they went in like complete opposite direction. Yes, player, Beyond Good and Evil. No idea what kind of game Beyond Good and Evil 2 was supposed to be. I still proclaim that game will never come out.
I still do believe that game will never come out.
Yeah. Game's never coming out. But whatever they were trying to do with it, it looked like a cool movie instead of an actual cool video game for what I saw. Because I didn't see there was nothing in like 5 minutes of a very high octane teaser trailer, CG Blur Studio trailer thing that showed, like, none of that showed any gameplay. So it's just like, that's too far in one direction. You need to have a mix of that with some actual gameplay, or at least a representation of what the game's supposed to be. And if that's 2 years out, bet that's fine. So I don't know. Look, and when they show Starfield for the first time? Last year, right?
Was it last year? I thought it was years ago. I don't even know when they showed off Starfield.
That's a good question. The first time they showed it?
No. The first time they showed it, was
the first gameplay, that was last year.
Yeah, no, the first gameplay was last year. Before that, the first time they showed anything of it, they showed in-engine new. Is it Source Engine? Is that what it's called?
No, it's
Creation Engine.
Creation Engine 2, yeah, Creation 2.0, and they
was just like some woman with a spacesuit on in a space station.
2018.
Yeah. So the first time they showed it was technically really 2 years ago, and so here we are. Same thing. Like, if you would have just like, I'm saying 2 years is fine. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm a big fan of the marketing rollout, but because I feel like I'm just an old school kind of person like that. I love the 360 rollout. I love all of that press conference stuff. But if you're teasing the trailer in 2018, and then you have an in-game concept in 2021, 3 years later, that's way too long of a time in between. I'm not waiting for that. Personal opinion, obviously, to each their own. And then you have a release date, and then you slowly are rolling out the the info and the gameplay throughout the year. This last year with Starfield, perfectly fine. That's what I love. Love the rollout, love the diaries, love the gameplay, love the, seeing it from, May to November or whatever it is. Seeing all those little tiny tidbits. Can't get enough of that stuff. But announcing something in 2018 and then not showing gameplay until 2021 and then not showing like an actual like extended look of the gameplay until last year, 2022, dude, that should be a crime. Like, I hate that. I can't stand that. That's 4 years before I see gameplay. Don't show me that stuff. Just show me when it's ready. Show me when the gameplay when it's substantial enough.
Show me the Carfax.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So if it's within 2 years, show me some gameplay. I'm cool with that. But if it's anything at the 2 year mark and you're not showing me actual gameplay, I don't show it. Perfect Dark, don't show it. Should not have said anything for years. Should not have said anything. I still have it on my bingo board every E3. Yeah, they're gonna show Perfect Dark this year. I've been saying that for like 5 years now.
I will give them this about, I think, and this is mostly due to it's their fault because of the lackluster releases in games they had over the course of like last generation. But I think they felt like they had to drown everybody in all the games that they had in development due to the fact that they didn't have anything for people to like, think about coming in the future, because they didn't have anything outside of Halo Infinite and Forza. There was no other games really on the docket for them to talk about. So I think they wanted to like open up and do that. So I do think you'll get your wish when it comes to stuff in the future. I just think that big rollout of all the games they announced in 2020 happened due to the fact that they just had nothing else. Well, they didn't have anything on the docket to talk about since then. So now
it would be depressing. It would be depressing to show 2 games at an E3. I get that.
Yeah, so I think that's what it was just the fact that that's what they had to do. Whereas like now when you look at it, it's more of, oh, why didn't we see this game there? Well, why didn't we see that game there? Well, I think it's because they have so many other games they can show you now that those other games can kind of just take their time and, they finally talk about them when they're actually ready. So now I think like that's why I think you're going to see Hellblade this year, but compared to the last 2 years, you saw it at the Game Awards.
See, look, and this is where like what I feel like sometimes in this community, people, they speak their true feelings and then they reevaluate their feelings based upon the reality of what actually happened. So last year I was talking about how people had very grand predictions of what they were going to see at E3. And none of that stuff came to pass. And then after the fact, they were just like, well, of course they're not going to show us this stuff. And of course, it was that kind of talk when it was like, that's not how you felt literally 48 hours ago.
Right.
And so people have a tendency to speak their mind and then see that it's not how they thought it was going to be, and then change what they believe is their opinion or what they pretend is their opinion based upon what the reality was. And I just don't want to see that again. Because like there are people who act like, now like what happened last year was just fine. But then they'll have, if they go into E3 and do things differently and show us a bunch of stuff, or they're going to just switch it up again. And it's just like, what is your opinion? Is this your opinion, or is it just what you think your audience wants you to say, or what you think Microsoft wants to hear from you? But what I want to actually hear from you is what your actual opinion is, and not necessarily what sounds good or what keeps your audience watching your show.
Right.
So
it's a tightrope of engagement and what's it called, engagement and delivery, you know, and it's Xboxes and Microsoft as a whole has been struggling to be consistent in the last couple of years. And pandemic aside, I get it, it is what it is, but let's just isolate it for this last 2 years, right? You know, it's been hard for them to be consistent, and me and many others are just waiting for it to be consistent again, and I hope it is, but, it is really, really hard to be excited for something that's just not coming out for quite some time.
Yeah, and in regards to what I was talking about, like Forte's talking about Hellblade, and I'm hearing people saying, well, you know, I hear it. Look, if you're an insider and you heard it, and they say it's coming out this year, that's one thing. But there are people who are just like, oh, I see them getting hyped up, where you have a conversation and it's just immediately like, well, you know, Hellblade's coming later this year, and it's just like, how is that? That's not a guarantee. Yeah, y'all heard?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. They haven't announced that, and even if they did announce it, that still wouldn't be a guarantee considering their track record. So, like, why are you already putting your expectations in this little bubble, in this little box of disappointments that that you know is gonna? It's just like, come on, man. Like, why would you just put yourself in the mindset that this is a given? It's not a given. And until they announce it and it gets like, hey, it's literally coming out. Like Hi-Fi Rush was a slam dunk guarantee because they announced it and said it's out right now. That's when you knew it was out, because they said it's out right now. Go download it, have fun. Like, it's not guaranteed Hellblade 2's coming out later this year. I would love for it to come out later this year because I like Hellblade 1, and I'm interested in seeing where Ninja Theory takes Hellblade 2. I would love to see more combat and a lot less puzzles. That's just me, but I would love to.
But aside from just one brand, I think just as a whole, the game this year is really, really good for games.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
This is a cracked out year. I think this is awesome. I don't think I have enough money in my wallet to buy all these games.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, we got Spider-Man 2, Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda's coming out 2 months from now, May.
Yeah.
We have Jedi Survivor coming out in April, right?
Yes, Jedi Survivor. Good.
We have I don't know if anything's slated for March, but I think Resident Evil 4 we spoke about earlier slated for March. That's like
March 24th.
That's like one AAA game every month. That's insane.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty crazy.
And May
Final
is
Fantasy
Zelda.
16.
Yes, and then what else? If an Xbox game drops in June, then June, and we don't know anything about July or August, but you know, again, September we got Spider-Man: The Falls, Spider-Man. We got Final Fantasy, Hades 2 is dropping. Oh yeah, and then Starfield comes out. Yeah, man, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be eating good this year.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 comes out.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
Let's get out of here, man. It's getting late. I apologize for keeping you guys so late. Actually, I don't apologize. Good. We had a great conversation.
I don't apologize. It's been a long time since I've been on a podcast, so it was really nice and refreshing to be able to hang out and talk games.
That's what I like.
It's always good to have you here, Deli.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always fun being here.
Yeah, and when we get off the air, you're gonna tell us what you know about Bungie. But anyway,
I will give you all the tea.
I love the tea. Tea tastes real good at night.
Sure.
Let's go get up out of here, Deli.
Yeah, actually, for my intro, before we roll anything, the only tea that I need to address live on air is why Forte hasn't shipped me 2 copies of Babylon's Fall.
Let's talk about that.
No. Listen.
Don't say no.
No, I'm just saying no.
Why are you laughing?
Give you the money for Babylon's Fall.
He never did.
Because you've never sent me the UPS. Or USPS
well,
ticket.
I wasn't going to charge you for it.
I know you weren't, but I'm saying that,
No, I shipped it 2 days ago. And Slow was like, well, you need to tell Deli that.
I love it.
Yeah, because you've been waiting forever. And when he talked to you about that, they still had the servers online. Now the servers are offline.
Well, he just wanted to keep them sealed.
Yeah, no, I actually did want to play the game.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to play the game before the server shut off because the server shut off like a day after my birthday. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect birthday gift to harass my brother and force him to play a game that's not good. And then the servers are not online.
I saved you the chance of having to go do that.
Fall. He will never experience the greatness that is Babylon Fall.
Yeah, I saved him. Well, guess what? You can, now you got 2 sealed copies of the game. That
did you sign them like I asked you to?
I did.
Like the inside? How are they sealed if you signed them?
No, I didn't sign the inside. I signed the saran wrap.
Wow,
man, you should have signed the inside.
Forte.
I'm just playing. I signed the inside.
Oh, thank God. I was gonna say, bro, like ceramic or cellophane does not last long in my house.
And I also put DPS and slow mo at the bottom. I didn't know how to write slow mo's name, but I did.
Okay.
Even though he had nothing to do with this transaction, I did anyway. Because you know what? I love slow mo.
Yeah. That's what
and he loves you. No, and he loves you.
Let me tell you what I don't love about Forte. He leaves me on red all week.
When did I leave you on red?
Every day.
Look at our messages, man.
I looked at our messages today when I sent you a message asking about the podcast. So I did look at it today.
Today. I've been sending you messages since like Monday, Tuesday. Okay. So you know, like it's instant message. The instant part is that like
instant messaging.
I send it and instantly.
It's not instant reply.
Right, there you go. It's not instant reply.
You can reply. Replying days later. Actually, not even replying to the things I said. Just replying to about something completely different.
I would prefer if you just called me, Forte. If I text you and you just call me back.
Just call me. I answer the phone when you call me, don't I, slow-mo? Don't I answer the phone when you call me?
Not really.
Insane behavior. Insane behavior.
That's insane.
All right, let me get up on out here. Let me roll my outro and get out of here.
Insane. Yeah, Sir Deli, amazing having you here. Amazing developer, amazing everything. Just the 25 and like what'd you say? You're 26 now?
I'm 26 now. Yeah, my birthday was February 21st, so it was actually like 2 weeks ago.
Oh man, well, happy belated birthday!
Shout out
to you. Shout out to you and the rest of the family. Please,
my knee stopped working.
Yeah, his knee. please tell these people where they can find you and how you can, they can help you play ranked games on Halo.
Oh yeah, you can find me best on twitter.com/agentdeli. And you can find me on YouTube as well because I opened up a YouTube channel and started making content. I've been slacking recently, actually, beginning of the year. I have been slacking. I was supposed to upload once a week, but things got a little bit busy with the layoffs and everything like that, and I've just been kind of busy with life. But I should be getting back to making YouTube videos. I don't know. I'm just talking about games industry kind of topics. No console war stuff. I don't care about any of that stuff, but just games that I like. I don't really spend too much time talking about games or things that I don't like. So most of the things that I do spend time talking about on YouTube and Twitter or any form of social media like this on podcasts as well is games that I do like and stuff that I do like and do enjoy. So come follow me on there or come hang out on there, interact with me. I absolutely love hanging out with and talking to anybody and everybody. Just whether it be opinion pieces or just actual industry advice or to get into the industry or portfolio reviews. I helped somebody with their college homework yesterday. I had a really, really wholesome DMs. She DM'd me and said, hey, this is a long shot, but can you help me out with my C++ homework? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And I fixed her homework for her and she passed. She passed that day. So it was good. It's just I do a variety of things, but I'm always down to help and I'm always happy to talk about video games, the industry, and just gaming in general.
Nice. Definitely glad to have you and your expertise tonight. Forte, what you got going on, man?
Honestly, raiding. That's probably gonna be the next 3 days, depending on how hard this raid is. But great show. Really appreciate all the hard work, Slow-Mo. Appreciate Deli for coming through. Myself, Gaming Forte, YouTube and Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. Check me out whenever you get a chance. It's always a great time seeing new people over in the in the comment section and everything. Outside of that, just working and playing games. But that's what you guys should do too. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
And as for myself, I don't know, man. I might do a lunchtime with Slow Mo tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
He said that last week.
Hey, look, man.
He said the
Did you
same thing
did you already
last
stream?
week.
Did you already stream Resident Evil 4?
I didn't. I just played it. I just played like when it
Oh,
popped
okay.
up. I just jumped on and played it. So
Okay.
I'm
Starting to
probably-
like horror games.
I am not starting to like horror games,
Love it.
man. As soon as I went into that house, I was like, "Why am I playing this? I don't like."
He's
games
like,
Uninstall.
yes, I couldn't uninstall.
So you ain't
fast
want
enough.
nobody else to see you playing it, so you just played it off stream. That's some good content right there, Slow Mo. You could have, probably had 50 people watching you.
Well, that too bad.
It's so scary. He's like, so scary, man.
All right, I'm getting up out of here. Appreciate everybody for coming through. Channel member list Forte. Are you ready?
I will pull it right now. I have mine. Ooh! Oh yeah, I got it. Want me to go first?
Yeah. Go
Or
ahead.
you? Okay. Shout out to the amazing 10%ers that support us in this amazing way. You guys are truly the heart and backbone of these channels. And I'm gonna start with the homeboy, Texas Lean, Low Key Poppy, J Dab, True Serum, Big Matt Mo, Dragonheart Yobi, Stardust Acero, Texas, I'm a Rich Swag Load, Ramon Terrell, Hargy Chini, Brat, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Corey Hale, Arodimus, the homie Slow Mo, shout out to the homie Slow Mo, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. Thanks again, guys.
And on my side of things, we got Neil S. Arcade, Percolator 9000, Steve Harlow, East Texas, Alex, John E, John the Don, Vay Babe, Cat Daddy Lurk, Dragonheart Yobi, Enrique, Hargy Shani, Texas, True Serum, Arodimus, Ramon Terrell, Homie One Kenobi, Gaming Forte, Corey Hale, Stardust Acero, and that guy Smitty. And before we leave, I am still a killer. Y'all better recognize people in the chat talk about what's going on with my Fortnite gameplay. What's going on is that I was trying to be a team player, okay? Trying to help my buddies out, let them get some kills every now and then. And I wasn't trying to kill everybody. I was shooting around enemies on purpose. It's on purpose. You know, you wouldn't understand. It's fine. Anyway, we get up out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, even though it's almost midnight. Enjoy your weekend as well, and enjoy your games. Peace.
Peace.
Eyes up.